Welcome into the MPW Digital Postgame Show presented by Walk-On Sports Bistreaux. I'm Neal McCready. That's Chase Parham. You know us by now. Ole Miss loses tonight at Auburn, 31-20. We'll talk about that with Jeffrey Wright, Brian Rippee. We will also take your calls on the Rafters Music and Food Hotline. We're keeping an eye on the World Series game. It's Game 4 in Atlanta. I believe Houston's ahead 2-1.
They're up one run. That is correct.
2-1 Houston, sixth inning, I think they said. Atlanta leads that series 2-1. If we get the Lane Kiffin video in time, we'll put that up so you guys can hear from him following the game at Jordan-Hare. And, we've got another TV, Ohio State trying to hold off Penn State's 27-24. That game, fourth quarter, Mississippi State beat Kentucky tonight in Starkville. I think Missouri beat Vanderbilt. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was ugly, but they won. It was like 38-27 in the fourth quarter or something like that.
And obviously Georgia beat Florida in the cocktail party earlier today in Jacksonville. That's a pretty light SEC slate, so that is that. So we'll get to all of those things here in a little bit. I do want to tell you about Walk-On's Sports Bistreaux, 720 Highland Colony Parkway in Ridgeland. Be a great place to go tomorrow to watch NFL games. The World Series tomorrow night, Monday Night Football, and then, of course, the World Series at least with, potentially a game Tuesday, potentially a game Wednesday. So, and then, of course, another slate of SEC football. And then Walk-Ons will be opening up in Oxford here in about 3 weeks or so, maybe a little sooner than that. University Avenue in Oxford. We'll bring you all those details as we get them regarding Walk-Ons. Appreciate them being a part of this show throughout the course of the season, the pregame show and the postgame show. So a note about the message board. The YouTube thread here. It's going to flag cursing. It just is. So you can just curse to your heart's content, but it's going to flag it. No one's going to see it, if that makes you feel any better. So Chase, any thoughts right off the top?
A few. Couple different things. Frankly, there's 3 or 4. Don't know exactly where to start, but anywhere is fine. I guess we'll get it out of the way with officiating. I know it's what people want to talk about. I know that's why a lot of people are going to call in as it goes on. I wrote observations from a one-sided standpoint, maybe the worst officiated game I've ever seen, which says a lot because I watch a lot of SEC football games. The SEC has a problem. We've known they've had a problem. Yep. We've talked about it, and I don't know that anybody's ever really thought that it was cute per se, but it's gone beyond that to a legitimate issue that is affecting outcomes of games. And it's one of those deals where it was the calls on the field were so one-sided. Auburn now has potentially, and I don't know how far to go with this. I don't even know what I'm necessarily thinking. But at the end of the day, the truth and the realistic matter is Auburn has either won or been greatly benefited 4 times in the last year and a half by officiating. Ole Miss last year, Arkansas last year, the phantom fumble call a couple weeks ago at least, if not anything else. And
it changed the game. It changed the game in Fayetteville a few weeks ago.
It did all those things. And tonight, you can make an argument that, or not, you can make an argument. The truth is that it cost Ole Miss somewhere between 4 and 11 points in the first 2 series of the football game, depending on how you want to rule the block in the back on Sam Williams. So it made a huge hell of a difference. It made Ole Miss play a different way. The offensive pass interference later in the game was complete and utter horse crap. There were so many things where
there was a spot on a third down that didn't even get reviewed where he steps out. They end up
on Matt Corral's interception. He's grabbed in the face mask. Casey Kelly's being held on the play. There were multiple times that was going on throughout the game. It was ridiculous. It was the worst I've ever seen. For whatever reason there, it was a night where if Lane Kiffin gets up to the podium and decides to take all the shots in the world, you can't blame him because while it was not the only thing going on, it was going to be a close game no matter what. Ole Miss has got issues we'll get to in a second. However, in saying that, it absolutely changed the game. It absolutely benefited Auburn, and it changed not just the outcome but the flow of the game as it was going on. It was awful. It was the worst I've literally ever seen, I think. So
yeah, I wrote about it in my column. I wrote about a lot of things. I wrote about Matt Corral's grit. I wrote about the injuries on offense that are becoming a major, major, major storyline. I wrote about defensively the first half. It was a terrible effort, frankly. They didn't do a good job. They made some adjustments and actually played really well in the second half of the game. Gave up 3 second-half points defensively. 3, which is remarkable. but the officiating's becoming a major topic. It's something that a lot of the people around the league don't want to talk about. They don't think it's impacting games. And I don't want to be the guy that goes, oh, yeah, that cost Ole Miss the game. A lot of things cost Ole Miss the game. But officiating played a role in the game. And you don't want officiating to play a role in games. You want officiating to just be something that's there to manage a game, to officials are going to miss calls. They're absolutely always going to miss calls. That's going to happen. But when they're consistently missing calls against the same team or in favor of the same team, and frankly, over the last year and a half, for all the talk about all that Alabama benefits from officiating, it's Auburn who benefits from officiating.
And that's kind of my point. You're at a point with SEC officiating where incompetence is what you're almost hoping for, because they're not going to be worth a damn no matter what. They're going to suck. So it's just don't let them suck in such a one-sided way that affects the outcome of the game. And in most SEC games, they're just bad. But for some reason, when Auburn is involved, it's not just bad. Yeah. It's all toward Auburn for whatever reason, and I don't know. But it's just the truth at this point. I mean, it's one thing if it happens one game. It's one thing if it happens 2 games or 3, but there's a sample size at this point that is ridiculous. And it made an Ole Miss team that was beat to hell have to not just win the game, but win the game by multiple points, by potentially multiple scores if they were going to do it. Instead, they lose 31 to 20.
Now there are some other things that I do want to get to, which is I know the analytics say don't kick. There were twice today.
For a couple of different reasons. You kick because it just makes sense. You also kick there late because you get it to 8, you get to continue to whatever. And then 3, it's not the normal.
At one point, a kick would have pulled you within 5.
Yeah, and it's not the normal
a lot of football
offense.
Left.
It's one thing to gamble more when Drummond's out there and Mingo's out there and Sanders is out there and you've got the normal offensive line and you got everything going on. Okay, that makes sense. Lane talks about it. Hey, it's also a field thing. It also depends on how the offense is moving. The offense wasn't moving. Every single thing was a struggle.
And the defense was playing pretty well. They were getting stops.
Ole Miss
they were making
lost a football
happen.
game where Ole Miss defensively did not give up a touchdown in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, look, the next game I coach will be the first. But you kick there. Like field goal at one point makes it 31 to 26. Or 28 to 23.
Yes.
And then another field goal makes it 31 to 23. You want to stay within a score, and when you don't get that score, you make it kind of impossible.
The only thing that makes any sense, and we'll see what Lane says. I assume he'll be asking about it tonight when we play the press conference. Is the only reason that I'll even go, okay, well, that at least makes sense and is a judgment call, is if you go for it because you go, I don't know that we're going to get down here again. If you don't trust the offense to the point, if you go, hey, if we get it here, you get it back, maybe you get to the point where you get to the 35 and you kick a 52-yarder or something along those lines, but you just don't think you're going to get to the end zone is the only other thing that I would think maybe Lane was doing right there. The fact of the matter is that in the first half, they were just bludgeoned at the line of scrimmage.
They were.
That put them in a hole where they give up 21 first-half points, as well as they played in the second half. It looked like we had a time machine back to 2019 in the first half. That set everything back. That's at least worth mentioning. And on offense, I'm going to
stop one here.
Yeah,
so here's where you go too far. Like Ben Summerford here says, second half kickoff should have been given to Ole Miss. Nope. And that's where you go too far, and you lose your argument as being overly emotional. The ball fell off the tee before he got there. You absolutely get a mulligan there.
Yeah, it's just the rule.
That's the rule.
It's got just like in golf, if you're swinging and the ball falls off the tee.
They got it right. So that one's right. You just got to you can't go full blown. It's different plays. That's not one of them though. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
You're good. So the defense was horrific in the first half. They fixed it, made a lot of adjustments. That if they can replicate that, it'll be a very similar game plan against Texas A&M, I would assume, in a couple weeks. But the bigger thing here is just what can they get done on offense given where they are at from an injury standpoint right now, because you look at it tonight and from a receiving standpoint, here were the dudes for Ole Miss tonight. Now, Jaquir Pearson had a huge day. He goes 7 for 135. He was Ole Miss's best receiver tonight. He played incredibly well. Casey Kelly, because he has come back from an ACL injury, frankly, on schedule or a little ahead of schedule, has been a godsend for Ole Miss. He goes 7 for 81. Drummond catches 4 passes early. He has a hamstring injury. He never returns except for the wide receiver pass thing they had because he's the one that throws it. So he came in for one play at that point, and that was it. Beyond that, John Rice Plumlee, 2 of 16 off 5 targets. Battle, 2 for 4 for, 2 targets. Gatus Jackson has the 125-yard catch. He also was open on kind of an out route, and Corral missed him on that 3rd and long after they'd had the couple penalties and pushed him way back. But that was all Danis did. Parrish, 1 for 15. Umana caught a pass that was deflected. And Jerry and Ely's day in general, 1 catch, -7 yards, 3 rushes, 1 yard. There's Jerry and Ely tonight from a statistic standpoint. He was non-existent. He barely played.
He has been a remarkably inconsistent player all season, and it harmed them today. What were Parrish and Connor's stats?
12 for 57 and 10 for 47. They were fine. 4.8, 4.7. They were okay. Corral obviously could not run like normal. We'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
But from an offensive player standpoint, look, you want to look at what's possible. They've got 2 games they're going to win with Vanderbilt and Liberty left. They have Mississippi State, which is going to be an incredibly difficult game in Starkville.
Absolutely.
They hammer Kentucky tonight. And then you've got A&M, which is going to be a very difficult game. If Ole Miss is going to go 4-0, that's obviously the ceiling at this point. That's probably a Sugar Bowl berth, but that's going to take some guys getting healthy because they just don't have enough on offense. And it shows you where Corral, it's the one silver lining maybe above all else tonight, is even beyond a win or a loss, Corral's health, assuming he can finish out the year and there's not something that was just shot up to hell and back and then see where it goes from there. Because you look at it, and when he gets hurt there in the first half, his body language, I was texting multiple people at the game, it took over 5 minutes to even get him to the 10. He couldn't put any weight at all on that ankle. When Jernigan, the head trainer, walks over to Kiffin looks like he was told somebody died. He went down to his knees immediately. Yeah. He put his head down. The body language looked like Achilles, broken ankle.
I think they thought he'd broken.
Yeah, something that was insane. He walks off. He goes inside with Curry Luber, comes back out, and you can tell that the way Curry's talking to him that he's coming back into the game at that point. His body language is better. He was a hell of a gamer tonight. He was fantastic. Now, look, his accuracy was off because of the ankle. He could not run effectively, and he made a very poor decision with the backside defender on the interception. But credit to that son of a gun. I thought he was done. He played pretty well overall. If you look at it, he was 21 of 37 for 289. He did not throw a touchdown, so that consecutive streak ends. Chad Kelly will remain the leader in that in that statistic from an Ole Miss standpoint. But as long as he is upright and he finishes, Ole Miss has a chance in its remaining games. Thought Luke Altmaier did a really nice job keeping his head over the course of that 6 minutes when he came into the game. He goes 5 for 5, but even beyond that, he used his feet a little bit. He kept his eyes downfield. He kept composure pretty well. So overall, he did a nice job. You all right?
I was calling Jeffrey and I lost him, and so he was calling me back.
Okay.
Finish your thought. Go ahead.
No, that was kind of it. He was. As long as he's healthy, they have a chance. But that was sort of the 3 or 4 things that I had there from that standpoint. Look, there's a lot of reasons why Ole Miss lost the game. They all are very, very relevant, but it was made fairly impossible there from that first one.
Going to get Jeffrey on for a quick minute. Going to get Brian Rippee on for a quick minute, then we'll get to you guys. Jeffrey, how are you?
Hey, I don't know why. This is coming through my computer. Hang on.
Oh, okay. No problem. Take your time. We'll get Jeffrey on once he gets set up. We'll get to Brian, and then we'll get to you guys. Again, a reminder in the YouTube stream. It doesn't bother me, it doesn't bother Chase, but it bothers YouTube, and they're going to catch it.
We have no control over it,
and so they're gonna flag profanity. So,
oh,
is that a home run?
That is a home run.
Oh, Dansby Swanson, it's a home run for Atlanta. We're having problems with Jeffrey.
He'll call right back.
Yeah.
He has to change something off the call.
Dansby Swanson hits a home run. It's 2-2. Jeffrey? Jeffrey?
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we hear you.
You're all good.
You're all good. You good? You can hear us?
It's one of those nights.
Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah. Eventually we'll get him.
I thought Luke Altmaier played really well. In fact, had Ole Miss won the game.
It was a key story.
I was going to write that those few minutes were absolutely critical to it. He settled in, made some plays, calmed down, and did some things. Kept him in it. And look, they're down to one. Jeffrey,
how are we now?
Yeah, he's struggling.
It was absolutely the worst game flow of the year at BWL. It was from an Ole Miss standpoint. I mean, it just shows how banged up they are. I mean, there's their entire game plan offensively is disrupted by just a lack of guys.
Yeah, I'm gonna try him on Skype. Well, when you're down to lead your best receivers, Danis Jackson and Ja'Kyr Pearson, you're in trouble.
And then Bo Nix, incredibly efficient tonight as he's been against Ole Miss every damn time they played. Nix goes 22 of 30 for 276, a touchdown, completes 73% of his passes. Bigsby was phenomenal for the Tiger, especially early on. He had 87 yards in the first half there at one point. He finishes 23 for 140 and a score. And then Hunter, the kid from Neshoba Central, 12 for 38. Almost bottled him up for the most part. He only had a long of 11 over the course of the night.
Well, and the part about Bigsby is the part that I'm reluctant to turn it into all about officiating. You couldn't stop their run. You knew that was going to be critical, and when you couldn't do it, that was a problem.
Hello.
I've obviously got the wrong person. All right, here we go.
This is great.
This is one of those days. Jeffrey?
I don't know.
Jeffrey? We're just having us a problem. Jeffrey, how are you? Oh, Soler hits a home run. 3-2
Yeah, Jeffrey,
Braves.
we can't hear you.
We can't hear you, bud.
You're talking through something very far away.
All right, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get Brian on. Is he ready by any chance?
We can check.
We'll let Jeffrey figure out his deal. So 3-2 Atlanta now, bottom of the.
They had another home run.
Yeah, Swanson and Jorge Soler back to back.
Wow, what inning? 7th?
Yeah, bottom 7.
Wow. Yeah, he's good.
All right, sorry.
All right, you
good? That's about as frustrating as the experiences I've had.
We're not going to keep you long at all. Just your overriding thoughts. And we're talking officiating, so give me your thoughts on officiating tonight.
Yeah, so I was listening earlier. I mean, I agree with y'all, but I mean, like I think one of the first like opinion columns I wrote for the site was back in 2014 when I was mentioning like, if this is going to be your bell cow, if you're going to have it, this just means more. And football is going to be your number one product, everything. You cannot have officiating like this.
Yep.
And, and it's one of those situations where the bigger problem to me is they do not acknowledge that they have a problem. And they don't believe that they have a problem, because if they did believe that they had a problem, they would fix it in some shape, form, or fashion. Yet Mark Curls is still allowed to officiate games. And, so at a certain point, my question is, what will motivate them to make a change? Because the way I see it is they're just going to they're going to do exactly like what the NFL has done when everyone's like, they have to release the emails. No, they're just going to keep doing what they want to do. And I think the SEC is operating the same way with officiating.
What do you think it is? At this point, you know me, you've known me for a long time. I have always really pushed back on the whole conspiracy thing. And I still don't think it's a conspiracy, because a conspiracy would only require a couple of people to kill it and to expose it. But it's so bad and it's so one-sided in some of these games that you understand why fans feel the way that they do.
No, I do get it. But, like, let's take Auburn, for instance. Auburn, in my mind, is the team that has always lived and been okay with playing chaotic games. Like they're just fine with playing chaotic games. So when you get into chaotic games, the officiating stands out more. And I think that's why Auburn feels like that they're more involved. To me, and here's how the SEC will look at it. Well, one team had 6 penalties, the other team had 7 penalties. How can you sit there and say that this was one-sided and whatnot? And the reality is nothing that happened tonight is going to motivate them to change. The only way that they're ever going to be motivated to change is if they get embarrassed on a very public stage. And until that happens, and I don't know what that looks like, until that happens, I think we're just going to be dealing with the same thing.
I know it's not your argument, but that's like arguing the Black Sox didn't cheat because Joe Jackson had a hit during the series.
No, I agree, but
so wait, hold on. So wait, I'm not pushing back. I'm asking, are you saying you think there's active cheating?
I don't know about that. I'm not even necessarily saying that. I'm just saying that's a bad argument that the number of penalties were the same. I mean, we pick. Just like in those 3 or 4 games that Auburn potentially won because of the officiating.
Sure.
It wasn't about the number of penalties. It's about when and where they happen, just like with anything else. I mean, the NBA scandal with whatever his name was, it was the same way.
Sure.
And if it can, look, I'm not saying it's whatever, but if it happens in the NBA, it can happen in college football.
Well, absolutely. In fact, it's more apt to happen in college football than it is the NBA because the NBA officials, NFL officials are kind of full-time employees.
100%.
NBA officials, for certain, are full-time employees. That's all they do.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that's the problem is, in the end, look at remember when the NFL officials had the strike, and what did it take to get the strike to end? They had to have, on Monday Night Football, they had to have the Hail Mary where one guy's ruling interception and the other guy's ruling incomplete. They had to get embarrassed on a national public stage, and until then, I just don't think it's going to happen.
And I don't know that tonight does it.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know. I mean, look at, are y'all seeing, other than fans, are you seeing anyone that's talking about what a miscarriage of justice this was? You know what I mean?
No, and in large part, this is where, frankly, Ole Miss being as unpopular as it is with national media, with mainstream media, sort of hurts it.
It gets ignored.
Yeah, they don't care.
Well, see, I thought the bigger problem tonight was the bigger issue that Ole Miss had was not necessarily calls that went against them. In my mind, it was calls that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Remember when Bo scrambled, there was a tackle had a bad hold and it leads to a touchdown. It's the stuff that didn't happen more so in my mind than the stuff that did happen. And oftentimes when you have those situations, that doesn't really lead to change. The only thing that's going to actually change this is, in my mind, because I don't think the SEC is going to be motivated to change based on results. The only thing that's going to happen is if they have some type of billion-dollar deal with, MGM or Wynn, and they say, hey, if we're going to start doing this, you're going to get better officials. We deal in gaming. It has to be fair. And you're going to get injury reports. No more of this. No more of this. He might play, he might not play. You're going to have injury reports, and they're going to make it like the NFL. And to me, that's the only way that this changes. Because I think I wrote that column back in 2014. It's been 7 years, and there's literally been no change.
Let's get to a couple of other things I do want to get to before we let you go. The Kiffin decisions not to kick in the fourth quarter. Like them, dislike them?
I was kind of indifferent. I understand the argument of get some points, whatnot, but I really think the reality of the situation was, given how limited they were on offense, I think he was thinking, I don't know how many times I'm going to be back down here.
And I get that.
And I think he was really frustrated on the fourth down where they had it to the near side and they were going to run a little out and up, and it was going to be a touchdown because Auburn was misaligned. And then Auburn ends up calling a timeout at the last second. They didn't get it, and I think that really frustrated him to a large degree. But, I just think the bigger story to me tonight, I understand how people feel about officiating, and I do think that it had an impact on the game. I thought what had a bigger impact on the game was, man, when you were looking out on the field, and I'm just sitting there going, who the hell is he going to throw to?
That was my next question. Moving forward, there's still a third of the season left. I'm told, and I've seen some text messages to prove that I'm not just making this up. Jonathan Mingo's family is telling people they think he has a chance to be back for A&M, a chance to be back for Vanderbilt. Obviously, Braylon Sanders dressed. He didn't do anything, and now you have Dontario Drummond. If it's a hamstring, he's going to miss some time. Mm-hmm. Is there enough offense in the passing game to make this manageable against teams like Texas A&M and Mississippi State, or is this team in trouble?
I think Mississippi State, maybe. Texas A&M, I got a cold dose of water for everybody. That defensive front. Like, to me, the bigger story of tonight about Ole Miss's offense was, did y'all have any confidence at any point that they were going to be able to run the ball?
Not with any degree of real effectiveness. I mean, I thought,
especially when Corral can't move to kind of help with that.
Exactly. And let's also be clear. The other big problem tonight was you had a quarterback that was I don't even know if he was on one leg. I think he was on no legs. But the reason why I asked about the running, because for Ole Miss to be very effective in the passing game, people have to be legitimately worried about the run, and then they start overcommitting to it, and it creates really big windows. And I'm not going to blame the kid because he's the reason why they are where they are. Matt had a bad night, man. He missed a lot. He missed a lot of throws, and he missed a lot of throws that weren't all that difficult. I mean, the throw to Casey Kelly, man, you got to hit that. That's a 5-yard throw, buddy. Like, you got to hit that.
I don't know who the color commentator was, but he was right about Matt.
It was Blackledge.
Yeah, he was right about his footwork tonight. I mean, and some of that might just be he couldn't feel anything. I mean, who knows how many needles he took.
My first thought was he doesn't know what his feet are doing because he can't feel them.
That's what I kind of thought too, because he was shot up.
Yeah, I mean, that was my first thought was he didn't realize where his feet were because of that. And I think you also saw it on the deep balls tonight. Like, that's, when you aren't really solid in your base throwing deep, like, ball's going to sail on you. And I think that's exactly what happened. But to me, I think there's kind of two ways to look at it right now. They're sitting at 6-2. And I think, to me, the bigger deal is they played pretty much five of the 8 games without Mingo. They played half the games without Braylon. Their starting tight end coming into the season has been non-existent. They've gotten nothing out of Jerry Neal. I mean, if I would have laid out that situation to you, and I would have just told you that,
and then throw in that Ben Brown's out for the year, I would have said,
Ben Brown.
Yeah. I would have said, no way, they're 6-2.
Yeah, I mean, I think you would have said, oh my God, they beat Louisville, they probably beat Tulane, Austin P.
I would have thought they were a 6-win team in that scenario.
Right, but I'm saying, like, through 8 games, you would have thought.
Yeah, I would have thought. I don't know.
3-5 or 4-4 at best,
somewhere in there. Yeah, for sure.
And I mean, that's just kind of, to me, like, that's the difference in the SEC. I know everyone gets tired of hearing about it, but the reason why Georgia and Alabama look consistent week to week is they have depth. When they lose guys, it's not the end of the world. When Ole Miss loses 2 receivers, all of a sudden, you got John Rice Plumlee out there, guys. And I know he's the piano man. I know he's Mississippi made, but guys, he can't play.
Yeah, he's very limited as a receiver. There's no question.
I mean, Miles Battle's back over there.
Yeah.
Which, frankly, is also one of your better corners. You lose him on that side of the ball.
Exactly. Now you're down another defensive back. And then, Dennis Jackson seems to have a very limited skill set. And, one of the guys that probably prevented the Tennessee game from getting...
The offensive PI on Dennis, by the way.
Good God.
That was egregiously bad. That's either a no call or defensive pass interference, but it's not offensive pass interference. That was such a bad call.
It was a no call. The ball landed 10 yards out of bounds. It was a no call. Like, yeah. I don't even know what we're talking about. Like that was
ridiculous.
I think the other official tried to, because what the guy saw was he extended his arm. Like, you could see it. He extended his arm. And I know the other guy was going over to him being like, hey, man, it was right in front of me. That was nothing.
Yeah, he tried to talk him out of it.
Yes. and the other guy had great conviction. I mean,
and that's where you wonder if they throw in a flag just in case he catches the ball. And that's the crazy part of it. I don't want to go there because at that point everything's a conspiracy, and I don't know.
Right, but to me, like the simple answer is, okay, forget conspiracy. Let's talk about who are officials. Oftentimes, it's people that very much like to tell you what to do, and they're usually they have great conviction. Like, the bigger problem is until the SEC decides that this is a billion-dollar industry or whatever it is, multiple hundreds of $1 million for them, until they decide we've got to make sure that this is better than what it is, we're going to keep saying the same things for years and years to come. And the reason why I know this is because I made a big deal of this in 2014, and here we are in 2021, and we're still saying the exact same things.
Hey, I appreciate the time. We're going to get to Brian and get to some calls. Thanks for staying with us.
Say a prayer that this Penn State kid misses this kick.
Will do right now.
All right, buddy.
Appreciate it, bud.
Bye.
All right.
All right, I'm going to get Brian on FaceTime audio, and then we'll get to calls. Talk for a minute. It's going to take me a second.
Braves and Astros, and they top of the 8th right now. Braves up 3-2. Full count, nobody out. Jackson had a pitch for the Braves. Penn State's got 3rd and 10. 4th and 10 now. That one's pretty much over. Minute 24 to go in that one. Courtesy of back-to-back home runs, why the Braves are up 3-2. James Franklin's kids did show today. Got to give them some credit for that.
They
jumped
did.
Up 7-0 early.
They did for sure. I didn't think there was a chance in hell that they'd play close in this game. I think the only game I got right today, the only 1 out of 10 was Auburn and Ole Miss. It was my day. So to be looking for a call.
Yeah. What's up?
Hey, Brian, how are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Oh, we're good. Won't keep you long at all. Appreciate you spending some time with us. You missed the kick that Jeffrey was hoping he missed. So.
Oh, sure. No problem. I'm just kicking it on my couch. I got all the time in the world.
We're talking officiating. Give us your thoughts on the officiating and Ole Miss's loss to Auburn tonight.
Yeah, I thought the officiating was bad, and honestly, I thought it mostly went against Ole Miss for the most part. I don't necessarily think that decided the outcome of the game, but again, without having watched it a second time, I think you'd have a hard time disputing that Ole Miss kind of got jobbed tonight. I'm not going to be one of those guys that goes on the whole grand conspiracy thing, but I did not think the officiating was good, and I thought for the most part it worked against Ole Miss. I don't know. It seemed very inconsistent. There were a couple of calls. I mean, that OPI call, it didn't end up mattering, was one of the weaker things I've seen in a long time. So I thought it was not great, and I thought Ole Miss got the short end of the stick on that, but I don't necessarily think that decided the outcome of the football game.
When the same team gets the calls every single time, does it start leaning toward conspiracy?
Okay, so if you're going to lean into this a little bit, yes, are we talking Auburn Jesus here? Because I don't understand that. So if there were going to be a conspiracy, why would you want it to be Auburn? Like, I'm not necessarily disagreeing with the theory because there's certainly some merit to it. I just don't understand, what's the infatuation with Auburn?
It's weird that would be the team if you decided to have a conspiracy that would be the team that you would conspire to support. Because, frankly, they don't do a hell of a lot for the league in comparison to Alabama, to Florida, to LSU, to Georgia.
Hell, why not Tennessee?
Or even
why not
Tennessee.
Help them out?
Yeah, I mean, to some degree, Tennessee. But, I mean, those other 4 teams would be the ones that I would say, if you were motivated to fix games for someone, that's who you would be motivated to fix games for.
So you guys were in the same boat. Y'all thought it was horrendously slanted against Ole Miss.
Yes.
Because I thought so too, but
Yes.
at the same time, the coaching mishaps was kind of clouded my brain a little bit.
So let's go there. I thought it was Lebby and Kiffin's worst called game in a long time, and some of that was they were super limited with what they could do, personnel, all of those things, a hurt quarterback, Drummond gets hurt late first half. The second half was going to be very, very difficult, but I would have taken the points when I had a chance to get points. And maybe that's me being an old man, but I would have taken points.
I agree for the most part. So the first one where it's fourth after the muff punt and it's fourth and a yard or slightly less than a yard, I guess I understand going for it. Again, Corral kind of made a mistake and he's clearly not completely healthy. But, I mean, the second and third time, when you get later into the game and your defense has not given up a touchdown and at one point had not given up any points in 5 possessions with the turnover, I just don't understand not taking the points there. And you guys were sitting there that day where he walked in the opening press conference and talked about analytics and all that. And what was his famous quote? Get ready to rip me. Well, isn't this the first time where we're kind of talking about it from the standpoint of, not ripping him per se, but we don't really understand it. I think they panicked a little bit being down the amount of receivers they had.
Yeah.
But at a certain point, man, 4th and 2 with 4 minutes left, your defense hasn't given up a touchdown all game. Why not give them one more shot? Your kicker made a 50-yarder to bail you out of a terrible end of the drive earlier. Why not give him a chance?
Yeah, because, it's kind of both sides of it. Even if you give them both of those field goals, if you just leave it the way it is, I think Altuve just went deep. He caught that. Holy shit. Wow. What a play in left field. Brian Snitker is living right. He goes with Soler long enough to hit the home run, takes him out, goes in with Rosario in left, and Rosario makes the play of the day. Even if he makes both kicks, right? You still, if you're playing scoreboard game, 11 minus 6 is 5, you still lose. It's sometimes it's just feel of game. You want to put pressure on the other team. Yeah, you don't want Auburn to have a 2-score advantage. But here's my other question, and maybe, Brian, you can help me here because we haven't gone here yet at all. What was the difference between the second half defense and the first half defense? Because in the first half defense, calls be damned, Ole Miss got gashed. They got gashed, and receivers were wide open, and you can't pin that on officiating. And they got beat running the football on damn near every play, and you can't pin that on officiating. And they couldn't get Chase wrote about this at one point, I think on Twitter maybe or on the message board. I can't remember. They brought blitz, and the blitz never got anywhere close to home.
It gave Nick so many lanes to throw in.
And that's not on officiating. So what was the difference in defense first half to second half?
I'm not 100% positive about this, and I'm certainly not smart enough to give a definitive answer, but I just thought they got Auburn behind the sticks a little more. Auburn had a lot more second and 7s to second and 12s in the second half, to me, than they did in the first half. Auburn's first down running, and again, I would love to go back and watch this game a second time, but just based off kind of the initial reaction to watching it, to me in the first half, how many second and 2 second and 4s did Auburn have, which is about as optimal as a situation that you could put a quarterback like Bo Nix in. And in the second half, it seemed to me that Ole Miss put them in less of those scenarios. Ole Miss was a little bit better against the run. And you mentioned them getting gashed. They did, but there were intermittent spurts in the first half where they would get a stop and get them in an occasional 2nd and 8 or so. And then, hell, have a dumb penalty or something like that. But I just thought they more consistently got Auburn behind or even with the sticks than they did in the first half. And I thought that was the difference. Hell, Ole Miss was down 28-17, and the defense gave up 3 points in the second half. If both of you had been told that at halftime, would you not have put money on Ole Miss winning the game if Auburn was going to score 3 in the second half?
I would.
I wouldn't have thought Auburn was going to be able to milk it away with 7 minutes left.
Yeah, I would have been concerned about the offense without Drummond. The offense without Drummond is and it is, frankly, as we get into November, it's my biggest concern now. Look, I think they're going to beat Liberty and they're going to beat Vanderbilt. I'm worried about their ability to beat either one of the other two teams if Drummond is out. Someone's got to come back. At some point, and look, I don't know what Braylon's situation is, but at some point, man, you got to suck it up and give it a go, right? If you're good enough to get dressed, you're good enough to give it more of a shot than you're giving it. You're going to have to put that reputation to bed at some point. And I've heard about Mingo going to give it a go in mid-November, and I'm I'll believe he's effective when I see it, but I do think he'll give it a shot. But at some point, Braylon's got to step up. And because if Drummond, if he tore a hamstring tonight, and I'm not saying that he did, but if he did, he's out for a while.
No, you're exactly right. One of them has to go, one of the three, and you don't necessarily like Mingo's chances in terms of banking on it, right? Because we don't know exactly where he's at. And Sanders dresses out tonight, and then Drummond gets hurt. He comes back in the game, but, I mean, you talk about a lame duck. When he came back in the game, you could tell he was pretty much a non-factor. I think that's pretty much when they stopped playing him in the second half. I was at a house with a couple of guys. Most of them went to Ole Miss. I would say it's about 7 or 8 people, but I kind of just enjoyed being the smartass in the back of the room saying, hey, could anyone name me all 4 guys out there off the top of their heads? And it was about 0 for 15 when Ole Miss did that. I mean, at a certain point, it was Ja'Cour Pearson.
It was Danis, Jaden, Ja'Cour, John Rice Plumlee.
And Chad Kelly's chunkier brother. Like, it was a lot. Like,
hey, they better be thankful for some Casey Kelly.
No doubt, because if there's no Casey Kelly, there's trouble.
That was a guy that Weldon was very high on. But, like, I mean, the fact that this kind of, for part of the second half became the Ja'Cour Pearson game was probably indicative of just how bad it's gotten. And we knew this going into the year, right?
Yeah.
If there were 2 major scenarios that were going to sink this team, it was injuries at wide receiver, but
and offensive line,
defense was the second one. But I think everyone was so concerned about the defensive aspect of it, you just kind of assumed you'd get by at receiver. But they've had decimating injuries at receiver, and that's really affecting them. I think it's kind of that simple.
I mean, they played without Ben Brown tonight too. I mean, they're all beat up. I mean, Omana played guard again tonight for a decent amount of time. I mean,
I do feel.
And look, real quick, in all seriousness, I know everything's kind of negative tonight. Credit to Pearson. After that crap against Tennessee and rebounding and finding some confidence and catching passes tonight, because that thing could have spiraled on your season.
What was his numbers?
8 targets, 7 grabs, 135.
Oh, it's a hell of a game.
I mean, hell of a game.
Hell of a game.
Just saying.
And at the offensive line part of it, I noticed that too, that Umana went to guard at one point. Do y'all know why that was? Was someone getting cooked? What was the reasoning behind putting him over at guard?
I'm
was
going
still
to guess,
trying to limit Caleb Warren's snap count?
Yeah.
I noticed that happen, but I couldn't figure out why.
I'm going to guess it was just Warren had to come out for a minute, so you had to shuffle.
So I imagine the frustrating part for Ole Miss fans of this game is the fact that they still could have very much won this game. I mean, they didn't necessarily have any business being in it, but they kind of coached themselves out of this, right?
It was a very winnable football game.
Yeah, it was certainly an opportunity to win. They had chances, no doubt. I mean, Auburn had a couple of turnovers that you didn't take advantage of. I mean, there's a lot there. There's a lot to dissect, and it's why and Chase and I were exchanging text in the first half. It's what frustrates you about all the officiating thing is that the officiating thing overrides everything else, and there's a lot more there than just that.
What did you guys think of what happened in the second half in terms of the decision making? Because, and I think I fired off some dumb tweet about this, but I get we're playing the results a little bit, but Ole Miss left 6 points out there about midway through the fourth quarter that should have mattered, and I get going for the first one. But what play are you trying to dial up down 3 receivers? I would have 4th and 6 from the 12.
I would have kicked field goals both times. I would have kicked field goals both times. I would have stayed in the game, given myself an opportunity. Because the one that really sticks out to me that bothered me then, and it bothers me even more now, was it 28? It was 28 to 20. It was 28 to 20, and you kick a field goal, and it's 28 to 23. And now the message that you send to Auburn is, "Hey, fellas,
we're in there.
We're in this." And
you give it back to us.
You're favored right now, and the odds are in your favor. But you put one on the carpet, get a ball tipped at the line of scrimmage, make a mistake, and we're going to win this bitch. And so when you go for it there and you don't get it, and they get the field goal on the ensuing possession to go up 11, now the pressure's off them. And I'm of the opinion that in that situation, you're wanting to keep the pressure on them. I think it's definitely kick it. And then when you're down 11, you got to get 2 scores. It doesn't matter what order you get the scores. You're going to have a touchdown and a 2-point conversion and a field goal. So if you have an opportunity to go ahead and get the field goal, then get it. It bothers me. I don't know. at the end of the day, I don't know that it totally would have mattered, but that bothered me a lot because I think you want to try to extend the game, and they didn't.
You talk about sending a message, and I'm just curious, and I'm really not trying to be this guy to stir things up for the sake of stirring things up, but when you go for it in both of those scenarios, particularly when the second one, when you needed 2 scores anyway, like what do you think that meant?
Give it a second.
Yeah. There, you're back now, Brian. Say it again.
Interesting. Like the defense played pretty well, and for the lack of a better cliche, bowed his neck a little bit in the second half. But Kiffin at every turn acted like they couldn't get a stop, despite them not allowing a touchdown in the second half. I'm just curious, and it probably is nothing, but I was just curious if that's something y'all thought about in terms of what message that sends the defense in a half they played pretty well in.
Yeah, I thought it.
I think if there's a, and we don't know what's in his head, but if you told me just from 10,000 feet to identify a flaw of his, it's kind of what happened against Alabama, even from the standpoint of analytics being what made sense there. And then today, I feel like he does have a sense to, maybe panic is too strong, but hey, the offense has to do something right now. There's not necessarily any extension by it. It's know that, right, you don't know what's going to happen, and every time that maybe happens, he tends more toward go, no matter kind of what else is going on there. There's a sense of some sort of panic or at least frustration that tends to keep the offense on the field when it comes to his play calling.
I am from Mississippi. As you guys well know, I have an MAS education. And as far as that'll take me, what analytics are telling you when you need 2 scores to go for it on 4th and 2, no matter what orders the scores go in, as Neal said? I have a hard time believing
I don't buy that.
Analytics told you that.
I don't buy that at all. And I'm sure he's answered it by now, and when it's available, we'll get it. I didn't think tonight was his best night, and simple as that. And look, everybody has bad nights, and I didn't think tonight was his best. And there's a lot of probably emotional energy and intellectual energy that is spent trying to figure out what the hell do you do when all these weapons are gone. And I'm sure that he was trying to protect Matt to a degree, as he should. And so who knows? All of those things may have just sort of led to it. But, again, hey, Brian, thanks for the time. Really appreciate it as always.
Absolutely. Y'all have a good one.
All right, that's Brian Rippee. Thanks to him. Thanks to Jeffrey Wright. I know people want the number. I'm going to get the number to you momentarily. It's only 10:37.
Yeah.
Feels later than that.
Does it?
Yeah, to me.
There's a big difference in the game starting at 6 versus 6:30 or 7.
All right, there's the number. I've had people go, what's the number? The number's literally on the screen when we're ready to take calls. So here we go. Hey, who do we have? Hey, who do we have?
Hey, it's Tammy.
Hey, Tammy, how are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
We're good. Good to hear from you.
Okay. This has just been a horrible night.
Has it?
Yes, this is such a sad, sad night for the Ole Miss Rebels.
What was sad about it?
Oh, my gosh. I mean, poor Maddie and all the other players that just lost it tonight. I mean, I'm just so sad.
Matt came back. He was all right.
Yeah, he came back. Matt's okay.
No. Maddie came back. I mean, when he got on that bike and he was riding, I was like, hallelujah, praise the Lord.
Right.
He was doing it. But, my husband and I, we were bobbing for apples, during the game. So I missed a little bit of it at the beginning. But, the zebras, they were just all confused tonight.
Hey, Tammy, thanks for the call. We appreciate it. We're still figuring out what bobbing for apples means. Hey, who do we have?
I think we know. I don't.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
Hey, who's this?
This is Roy and Cambry from Huntsville.
Hey, Roy.
How y'all doing?
Good.
I'm good.
Come here, Cambry.
Hey, Roy, keep in mind now the fans are really impatient right now, bud.
Oh, I understand. She won her first cheer competition today, and she's very excited.
Congratulations.
She's 6 years old.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Did really good today. You want to tell them hello?
Hello.
Hey, congratulations on your win. That's awesome. We're excited for you.
Talking about the impatient stuff, man, I don't even know where to go with this tonight. I mean, I'm going to take penalties out of it and everything, and like the fourth downs and stuff, maybe, left, what do you think, 9 points on the board, maybe 12?
Yeah.
6 or 9.
6, yeah. I'm going to go 6 because I didn't have a problem with one of them.
The 4th and 1, I thought they maybe got a little fancy with it when they could have run Snoop when he was hot. But other than that, I mean, what do you think about him trying to balance the time out? He's maybe thinking, if we get this, 4th down and take it down the field versus giving them the ball back and, letting them run tank down our throat a little bit more, that kind of thing, the kind of stuff in his head. And then, like the other thing, I was watching the pregame and Pete, he dialed up several plays that Auburn ran where they confused the safety and the DB and, thinking they were post routes when, they hit them up. I mean, Pete, he done a really good job on that pregame with some of the plays they killed him with. And the other thing I was really watching during the game was the design runs with Bo Nix. I mean, they had no answers for those whatsoever. And those combined with a couple other plays, I think were really the difference in the game. I mean, what did they run? Maybe 4 or 5 design runs for Bo Nix, and they all went for heavy yards, a couple touchdowns, this and that. I mean, you can put it on penalties and stuff like that, but they had a really good game plan for what they were going against. And, Ole Miss is down a lot of players, and I don't know, man. They just need to get some more dudes on defense. And it was a very winnable game. It was. They just left a lot out there on the field.
Roy, thanks for the call. Appreciate it.
Thanks, bud.
Hey, who do we have?
Hey, it's Corey from Amory.
Hey, Corey, what's up?
First time, long time. How are y'all?
Oh, we're great.
We're good.
Could you decipher what bobbing for apples was earlier, Corey? Did you hear Tammy?
I'll listen to it tomorrow.
Okay.
And hear myself. How's the mood?
It's a little jumpy.
It's a little testy, Corey.
Well, Chase, you're a big West Wing guy, right? Like you watch the West Wing?
Yeah. The Sorkin seasons are incredible. It kind of falls off after that, but sure.
Well, when Glenn Allen comes in, old John Goodman, and he says, "Relax, everybody, breathe regular."
Uh-huh.
That's kind of where we need to be a little bit, I think. I mean, there's some bonehead decisions there, sure, but you kind of live by the sword and die by the sword, So I was calling to check the mood more than anything else. Is everybody, are we firing anybody, or what are we doing?
We've not fired anybody yet, but people, we would like to fire Greg Sankey, and we would like to fire SEC officiating. And the officiating was bad. What'd you think of the officiating? You're a pretty level-headed guy. What'd you think of the officiating?
I thought it was pretty bad. I think there's worse things, but I also think we were trying to win the game and hope that Auburn could do to Alabama what Auburn did to us tonight. It's kind of to go to Atlanta. It was always a stretch, and I think I kind of try to look at stuff from 10,000 feet. I think that if the Arkansas 2-point conversion had gone the other way, we wouldn't be as upset as we are now over what could have been.
Oh, that's a good point. Certainly, that makes sense. Yeah, sure.
The expectation had changed to the level that 8-4 was no longer palatable.
Yeah, but it's all right. So I was thinking about this I had to go to a Halloween thing, and we were flipping. It was a mixed company thing. We were flipping back and forth between the state game and the Auburn game and the Ole Miss game. And I was driving back and thinking, so what do you think Vegas has right now? Like Do you think? We know that Ole Miss is favored in 2 of the next 4 games. So that if that's chalk, that gets you to 8-4. Do you think that Vegas has Ole Miss favored against A&M?
I would say right now the Ole Miss A&M line would be Ole Miss -1, 1.5.
So that's chalk. So we're 9-3. Do you think that Ole Miss would be favored against State in the Egg Bowl?
No, I think right now the line would be Mississippi State.
Favorite now.
Mississippi State would be -2.
But I think and I think Ole Miss is a better team than Mississippi State, even now, even with the injuries. So the best 2 Ole Miss football seasons of my life were Eli's senior year in 2015. And I know that sounds, we should be aiming for better than, and we should. But let's put everything in perspective. I mean, it's everything's gonna be okay. The sun's gonna come up tomorrow.
Corey, you're way too damn happy for people right now. I'm just gonna tell you that you're
I know.
You're in way too good of a mood.
Hey, life will humble you, man, and you just kind of got to pick it up and go on.
Corey, you're saying that you're trying to keep some perspective and said at the beginning of the year, if somebody had offered you 10-3, you'd have been tickled pink and not ask a single question.
This is absolutely chalk. The old school. In Chase, you'll remember them from like Bill's Hamburgers, the Ole Miss schedule, and everybody got them, and you would write WL before the season started. This is where I would have put it, and I'm an optimist.
No, they're exactly where I had them. I had them at 6-2 after 8 games, and that's exactly where they are.
Auburn. Well, we just don't like it's the officiating was crap, but I mean, can we sit here and say that the with what was on the field in the 3rd and 4th quarter, did the more talented team win, or did the least talented team win?
I think the more talented team won.
I do too.
Hey, thanks for the call, buddy.
Later.
Corral set on his injury. Couldn't feel it in my ankle. Heard it popped. Got an X-ray. Told him if nothing was broken, I was going back in. No excuses for not executing the ones I normally make. I didn't. It's on me. Comes back and says, that's not an excuse. Next man up mentality. I had Danis on a shake route. I just overthrew him. Plays I usually make. I missed. The loss is on me. So, Matt Corral there.
Having trouble with Skype, just so you know. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Having a lot of trouble with Skype. Let me see. Let me.
Need to restart it?
Yeah, probably at some point.
Okay.
But let's see. I'm having a hard time getting out of it. All right, here we go. All right, I'm gonna have to quit Skype and come back to Skype. I think Skype got overwhelmed. Everybody stop calling for just a minute. Hang tight. Hang tight. One of those things. I'm having to relaunch it. I'm back into it. It got overwhelmed by the calls.
Did it?
Yeah. As soon as we have Kiffin available, I will absolutely build a screen and do it. All right, here we go. Hey, who do we have? I'm sorry?
This is Rodney.
Hey, Rodney, what's up?
How y'all this evening?
Your signal's pretty bad, Rodney. No, we really can't.
I'll hang up and call you back.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
I think that's him, not us.
Yeah, that was him, not us. Hey, who do we have?
Hey, this is Pete in Orlando.
Hey, Pete.
Hey, Pete, what's up?
Hey, boys. There was a lot of opportunities in the second half to win that game. Couple of 4th down conversions that didn't convert, but early in the first half, each of those first 4 drives that Auburn converted, obviously blocking the back on the first one was a touchdown, should have been a punt. Second drive, we had that pass interference, ended up in a touchdown, should have been a field goal. Third drive, roughing the passer, might have ended up in points too. Anyways,
I didn't have a problem with I didn't have a problem with the roughing the passer call. I'm going to tell you that I didn't. I've watched it and I've gone back and watched it to make sure that I'm okay. I think when you watch that with completely sober with 24 hours reflection, you won't have a problem with that call.
Yeah, and then the fourth drive, they had that holding that Bo Nix ran right by that guy.
Yeah,
and he was held so blatantly.
Number 58
should have been 3 points. We should have been at halftime, and a 17-13 game would have just changed the entire game. But instead, we were chasing points all night. And yes, I agree. Lane should have probably kicked those field goals in that, on those 2 fourth rounds. But man, we were just chasing points the entire game because of it. And, I get that we had our chances, but, we got behind chasing points, and it makes you, make some questionable calls that you're trying to force the issue.
Chase, you got anything?
No,
I was reading Kiffin's comments. I can't.
Oh, you just got them?
Yeah, as well. I don't have it. I have a half transcript.
Anything else?
You hit on most of it too. The offensive PI on Dennis, the spot on the Auburn catch should have been 4th and 5. They probably would have punted instead of going for it on 4th and 2.
Yeah.
You had the horsepower on Pearson.
I thought that was actually a really big call there that was missed.
On Pearson?
Yeah, just
you had walked out of the room. When Pearson caught the ball down the middle that got Ole Miss into before they threw the pick,
I didn't see that
he
one.
got horse collared. They didn't call it.
I didn't see that one.
Yeah, really, overall, it's really unfortunate. I think it would have been a real hell of a game down, coming down to that last drive if it wasn't for all those calls, and it just robbed us of a great game.
Hey, thanks for the call. Appreciate it. Hey, who do we have?
Hey, Neal, it's Marty in Tupelo. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Not too bad. I want to shift gears a little bit. I know y'all are excited about the officiating and everything else, but I wanted to get your take on if you saw anything across the national landscape to solidify or give you any more ideas on who maybe a transfer quarterback we could be looking at.
I watched Rattler play at the end of the Oklahoma game.
After the blowout.
He made a couple of good throws. I thought it was interesting to see his teammates react to him the way that they did, and
positively.
Yeah, positively. I have no doubt he'll be in the portal, and I suspect he's been humbled a little bit. I was told last week that Lincoln Riley is still a very big Spencer Rattler fan, and he said as much in the postgame. There in Norman today, and so he's one that I'm really watching. I know everyone talks about Richardson. I watched a lot of the Florida-Georgia game today, and
I know it was Georgia, but he didn't look very good.
Richardson looked terrible. In fact, he looked completely outmanned, overwhelmed. Look, I like Rattler. I think the Rattler thing is a good fit for Ole Miss. I think he makes a ton of sense for a Lane Kiffin offense, a Jeff Lebby offense, and I'll just say this: there's absolutely a fire where there is all that smoke. Now he's going to have other opportunities. Arizona State wants him badly, and he's from Phoenix. There's some Oregon talk that is interesting, but there's a lot of Ole Miss talk with him.
Well, that's good to hear. Appreciate you taking my.
Okay,
Yep,
thanks.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
BYU was up 28-0. I think it's now 31-28 over.
Yeah,
Coos.
I put it up for you.
Yeah, I know. I kind of like Virginia.
Oh, I know you do.
Hanging out.
Hey, who do we have?
Rodney, can y'all hear?
That's better.
It's better, Rodney, but it's still not very good.
Okay. Well, it's frustrating tonight, but I've been dreading this game all year and then all week. But can you hear me?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, just go ahead and say what you need to say, then we'll hang up and talk on the other side.
All right. I'm finna tell you something I'm embarrassed to tell you, but after that, they called that holding or pass interference in the first quarter. I just cut it off. I couldn't take it because they was holding Sam Williams up to that point, and then they called that stupid foul on 3rd and 8, and I couldn't take it, and I just had to turn it off. But I just knew we was gonna lose this game this week, but we'll get back on track next week, and then we got to beat A&M. But I'll let you go since y'all can't hear me tonight.
All right, Rodney, thanks.
All right.
Braves 1 out away from being up 3-1 in the World Series. Hey, who do we have?
Turn it on. What's up?
Who do we have?
This is Reese.
Hey, Reese.
How's it going, guys? I just wanted to call in what y'all up to tonight. First of all, just want to say that I'm naming my firstborn Matt Corral. I've decided that much after what he did coming back in and all that. And second off, I just want to know what you think the long-term solution for, like, SEC referees is. After that performance, and it's got to happen to somebody besides us, I think, for a change to be made.
It's got to happen to one of the big boys. It's got to happen to Alabama or Florida or LSU or somebody. It's Georgia. It's got to cost them. It's got to cost them a big game for it to become part of the national conversation.
Absolutely. That's pretty much what I've got going on. That was my only question. Just basically hoping maybe next time we can get in the good game, we have, maybe kick the field goal and miss chances. I don't hate lane kicking those, but sometimes it's just like, especially if we would have cut it to, I guess, 5, could have cut it to 5, could have cut it to 8. I just feel like we would have been better off kicking those field goals, but he makes money, I don't, so what do I know?
Thanks for the call, Reese.
Yes, sir.
Hey, who do we have?
Hey guys, it's Lee in Navarre, Florida. What's going on?
What's up, Lee?
You guys started this thing about 3 years ago, right?
It was middle of 19.
Yeah, middle of 19.
2.5 years ago, man. As winnable as that game was tonight, and it was 100% winnable. Man, we're in a lot better spot. Was it the Missouri game you guys did to start this thing off 2.5 years ago?
That feels right, yeah.
Maybe Vanderbilt.
It was Missouri, actually.
Yeah,
that was the
man.
first one.
Yeah. So, what are we now, 6-2?
Yep.
God bless. We left some points out there tonight. I really felt like something about Auburn that just can't get past, man. I don't understand it. They're not. I don't know. As a fan, they don't intimidate me, but there is something about that. Just can't get past.
The second half made it different because Ole Miss did play really well defensively. Typically, Ole Miss loses to Auburn because Auburn dictates tempo and runs the football. That's why. Seriously.
If you'd have told me Auburn scored 3 points in the second half, I'd have been like, okay, all right. We went out and outscored them 21-3 in the second half.
If you're healthy, I get that. They're just so banged up. To me, as much as anything, it's who else is around here in the next couple of weeks is going to dictate this thing. They'll beat Liberty either way, but after that, you got to have everybody back.
The Atlanta Braves can win the World Series tomorrow night in Atlanta.
Yeah, 3-2, get a home game to try to close it out, up 3-1 in the series.
How about that?
Yeah, good win for Atlanta. And I know it's easy to second guess not kicking the field goals, but whatever it was, midway through the third quarter, and they had first and whatever from the 15 on Auburn, and if there was ever a time you think they'd run the ball just to get 2nd and 5, and I don't know. It's easy to second guess, but man, we're so much better off than we were 2 years ago. But I felt like tonight was one we could have gotten. I felt like we could have won that game tonight, and appreciate what you guys do, man. Appreciate what you guys do.
Thanks, Lee.
I really enjoyed all your podcasts, all your hand raise guys, the pregame show, all the stuff that you guys do, man. Seriously, there's a lot of people that enjoy your podcast. Neal, I know you're always you're just a reporter and you're always self-deprecating. But honestly, man, you guys do a lot of great content and fill a lot of space for people who otherwise who knows what you would do. But really, I enjoy what you guys put out. I just feel like tonight could have been one we could have gotten. I really, no matter how many guys were hurt tonight, I really feel like there were some points left on the table tonight for whatever reason, whether it was play calling or just luck or officiating or whatever. But it was a little frustrating, but appreciate what you guys do.
Thanks, Lee.
Appreciate
you.
Y'all have a good night.
You too. Bye. Real Gear Online says, does this kind of game affect Lane's attractiveness to other ADs? Nah. I expect Lane Kiffin to be the coach at Ole Miss next year. Hey, who do we have?
Hey, this is Land in Nashville.
Hey, Land.
Not really a question, more of an observation. I mean, you're 130 out of 130 in penalties, and take the officiating out of it. Yes, the officiating is bad. We've talked about it. We beat that dead horse.
Sure.
But, I mean, you take that out of it, there's still penalties. It's not – you take this game out, you still are the worst in the country in penalties. I mean, obviously speed affects it sometimes on offense. You get false starts because we're not able to get set. But, I mean, Umana's got a couple of false starts because he won't snap the ball. I mean, obviously that kills you offensively. And then on the other side of the ball, defensively,
a couple of offsides. There were a couple of bad defensive penalties. There were a couple of offsides and yeah, the little stuff. And 8 games into the season, you're 2/3 of the way in. That's who you are, So
yeah,
I mean that's
and defenses that play our offense, they get the benefit of 1st and 20, 2nd and 20, 3rd and 27. While our defense, every 3rd and long or 2nd long that they get is earned. You don't see a lot of. It feels like a lot of penalties called on us and not a lot called against the other teams we play. I mean, it feels, every 3rd and long, every 2nd long is earned by our defense because you're not getting a holding call on LSU to make it 2nd and 20. It's like you're kind of hoping for a sack, hoping for a tackle behind the line because you're not getting penalties. But you're, shooting yourself in the foot offensively, making Otis Reese had a dumb pass interference last week when you get a stop. I mean, it's just, I guess there is a question, how do you fix these things this late in the season? Or do you just kind of have to, live and die by hope you just can find a way to fight out of the penalties?
I don't know that
at this point, the penalties are what they are. I mean, that's kind of this team. I mean, you would hope that every player has a little more focus, doesn't commit them. But, I mean, it's been a question in every press conference for 6 or 7 weeks, and at some point kind of are what you are. And right now, Ole Miss is an undisciplined team when it comes to unforced penalties, if you will. I mean, Lane says they provide emphasis. They bring it in on Sunday. They show it to them. They drill it over and over and over again. But for whatever reason, it has not seemed to help at all season.
I mean, do you think slowing down offensively would help? I mean, I guess that it helps you in that you're, getting defenses tired. But then again, when you're getting all these false starts, then it's just kind of like doesn't help you too much. I wonder if slowing the offense down a little bit would kind of help everybody get set and, maybe negate some of those. But,
it does, but it lets the defense get set and takes away an advantage.
Yeah, it's true. I don't know. I think you're right. It's just what this team is. And, I think at the beginning of the season, when you have all your weapons, you're able to kind of get yourself out of those holes. But now when you're down to Ja'Cour Pearson and John Rice Plumlee and Casey Kelly as kind of your guys, it becomes a lot harder when you get these penalties to try and throw yourself out of it. So you get 3rd and longs because you have to run the ball. But, but I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Hey, who do we have?
Hey, this is Steve in Cicely Island.
Hey, Steve.
Hey, have any of y'all listened to the podcast Whistleblower?
I have not.
I've not.
Neal, you really should. It's about that ref that got caught shaving points in the NBA a few years ago.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. He said that while NBA games are not fixed, they are heavily influenced. And the FBI agent that investigated said that the NBA was about a hair's breadth away from becoming the WWE.
Ooh.
And, yeah, when they did the plea bargain, the only 3 people knew about it. The ref that the plea bargain depended on, the FBI, and the commissioner of the NBA. And one of them leaked it. I think what you got here is a situation of the SEC, while the games aren't fixed, they are heavily influenced.
Yeah, I mean, listen,
there's not really much of a difference.
I thought this for a long time. Well, fixed means that you have predetermined an outcome, and that you've told the officials in that scenario, the officials, do whatever you have to do for that outcome to come to fruition. Influenced means help it along.
Well, he said in the podcast that they would be brought in on whatever day it was before the game, and they would say, watch so-and-so because he's been getting away with this penalty. Watch so-and-so because he's been getting away with this penalty. We want you to, eliminate this. And it was just understood that you needed to call penalties on this side. So.
Yeah.
What brings in higher ratings? A top 10 Auburn versus Alabama or a top 10 Ole Miss versus State?
What's Alabama-Auburn for sure?
Well, yeah. So, follow the money.
Hey,
all right. Good night, y'all.
Good night. Thanks for the call. Thanks to Gerald Gordon. He said, is Auburn comparable to what Ole Miss wants? Can be. We don't have the network Bama and Georgia have, so is Auburn. Ole Miss's real benchmark. And also thanks to Cameron Albritton for the super chat. Appreciate that.
Probably somewhat fair.
It could, yeah. I don't know. I have to think about it. I've poured enough Buffalo Trace where I don't know. Hey, who do we have?
This is Mark.
Hey, Mark.
All right, spirit of full disclosure, I have not listened tonight. I've got a buddy from Atlanta in town for my member guest. We've been watching the Braves game.
Okay.
I don't know if other people have said. I'm assuming there's a lot of doom and gloom over a really bad fourth down call by Kiffin on 4th and 7, not to keep the field goal.
Not tons. We've questioned it, but not tons.
I'm going to go silver lining.
Okay.
Mel Tucker won a huge game today. Lane made major mistakes today. The second order of the LSU job had to have changed. I feel like Lane's safe at Ole Miss.
I don't think Lane was very high on the LSU list in the first place, but I don't think single games impact coaching decisions. I'll say this, there is a ton of James Franklin buzz at LSU in the last 48 hours.
Really?
Tons.
It's interesting. But I will say this. So as I was on the golf course today, I was actively cheering for Michigan State to win, to keep Mel high up the list, keep Lane under the radar. At the end of the day, this year did have a chance to be a special year, but my goodness, we were playing that game in the second half without a starting wide receiver, without, 2 offensive linemen? I mean, it's a
one and a half,
complete
I guess.
patchwork job. It kind of sucks that we didn't get to play the season the way that we wanted to play the season, and you can blame the play calls. The refs were tough. You can blame all that stuff, but long run, I kind of liked what happened today. We're good.
All right, Mark,
Neal's going to get Lane to stick around.
Yeah, I don't think Lane is as high on the LSU list as some people make him out to be. I think he's a lot of clicks, and I don't know that that's what he wants to do, honestly.
But that's where we needed to keep him. Yeah. And I think we did that tonight.
Thanks for the call, Mark. Appreciate it.
Be good, guys.
Hey, who do we have? Hey, who do we have?
You start facing the badness of it.
Hey, who do we have?
Hey, man, this is Jonathan from Oxford.
Hey, Jonathan, what's up?
What's up, man? I'm a big Ole Miss fan, but when do we come to a point to where we say, hey, man, Matt Krause hurt, let's let him be hurt? Because I feel like all they're doing is bandaging them, and then it's going to ruin his shot at the NFL.
There's nothing that appears to be problematic as far as combine, pro day, anything to do NFL related. I mean, he runs a lot in a season where he's gotten banged to hell and back. But I think he's cool from that standpoint. And I mean, look, unless you're going to make him inactive, he's going to play. He's not going to sit out.
Yeah, I know it's his choice, but I'm just sitting here thinking like, hey man, I would take a loss on the season for him to get a chance at his future.
They're not doing anything that would risk him long term. They would never. I don't think Lane would do that. Nobody would do that. So I wouldn't sweat that part.
Okay, well, I just wanted to get y'all's info on that.
Okay.
I appreciate y'all.
All right, thanks, Jonathan.
BYU and Virginia are at 73 points in the first half.
Yeah,
He might have had one.
You think?
You cool with this BYU suit? This blue on white?
Yeah. What's wrong with it?
No, it's good. I mean,
it's a good suit. Hey, who do we have?
Hey, boys, it's Lone Star.
Hey, Lone Star, what's up?
Well, I'm watching the Ghost in the Darkness. I'm 0-2 on teams tonight. The Revs and the Astros lost.
Oh, yeah, sorry about the Astros. We've been thinking about this from a Braves perspective.
I know. And I got to tell you, boys, the World Series logo they got on the hat looks better on the Braves than it does on the Astros, on that two-tone, that red and blue.
well, look, when you look good, you play good. So it is what it is. I mean, it's the Braves, though. I mean, you got a shot to come back 3-1. This thing's not over.
And y'all's closer, Metz or Mertz or whatever the hell his name is. He's a real deal. I mean, he pitches. When he pitches, he pitches.
Oh,
yeah, he's a bad boy.
I mean, he's just absolutely just killed the offense back-to-back nights. I mean, that's insane. He's got some great. He's got some great pitches. He's really does.
Kyle Wright came up huge for him today. Former Vandy kid.
Yeah, I know. I was looking at something from NCAA.com. I know I got to take that with a grain of salt, but yeah, the SEC leads players in the World Series, and Vanderbilt, I think, was the number one team. You know, it's funny how that
blown away.
School just little engine that could, boys.
Yes,
you know
sir.
How it is.
Choo-choo.
Kyle Wright, Dansby
I think
Swanson.
I can. That's the Vanderbilt motto.
Yeah, and not to fully derail the football conversation with baseball, but yeah, I'm an Astros fan and all that, and I get that there's a connotation with it, but man, I'd love for the MLB commissioner to have to present the World Series trophy in Atlanta this year.
I'm going to be honest. That's why I am cheering for Atlanta for two reasons. One, just because it's a cool story and there's a lot of Braves fans that are subscribers and stuff. And then two, I really want Rob Manfred to get booed in Atlanta as he presents the trophy.
Man, I'd love that. I'd love that just as much as I love the Astros winning. So either way, I win. But let's talk about the Revs. Here's the deal, and nobody's acknowledging this tonight, and y'all talk about officiating, as much as the next guy, and I get it, and we'll circle back to that. But I mean, this offense, the Ole Miss offense is held together by athletic tape and a prayer, right? I mean, just from the injuries,
they're a mess,
the
man.
crowd going down.
Yeah, they're a mess. They're a mess offensively, no doubt.
It starts in the trenches, right? So let's talk about the offensive line. They're moving guys around in the game. There's no consistency there. Matt Corral has no protection. Or limited protection. So he doesn't have the ability to throw the deep ball. So he's not throwing a whole lot of deep balls, which is not making the defense play honest, right? And then he doesn't have the ability to throw to players who are going to catch the football that he had at the start of the year. He doesn't have the weapons around him to be able to field the football. And that's the thing that we're not acknowledging as
Lone Star, hold on 1 second.
As much as we want to.
Lone Star, hold on 1 second. This is halftime?
Yes, that's what I
Oh,
said.
my God.
It's 80 points in the first half.
Okay, Lone Star, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I looked up and they were running off the field. Why are they leaving the field after the third quarter? And then I realized, oh, my God, it's the half. I apologize. Go ahead.
Casey Kelly can't handle the team by himself, right? He's a tight end. So there's the best three wide receivers in the SEC, as Lane Kiffin said at the start of the year. 2 out of 3 of them are hurt. There's not the weapons around Corral for him to throw to, right? The Bama quarterback, he's got weapons for days. He can throw it to whoever he wants to, and they're going to catch it, and they're also going to laugh when they sign NFL contracts next year. But Matt Corral's looking at the offense, and he's saying, "Hey, can you please tape this guy up? And we need him to catch a football." in the next play. And to me, I mean, the defense kept us in the game in the second half.
Sure.
They did in the first half as well, but I mean, the defense really kept us in the game. This whole contest.
Well, they kept them in the second half. They did. The first half, they were not good.
Yeah, they almost lost.
They weren't good in the first half. They were defensively. They were bad in the first half.
Yeah. No, I'm kind of in denial about that, but yeah, no, in the second half, when they kept us in the game. I mean, again, and this has been touched on with a couple of callers. If you told any Ole Miss fan, hey, Ole Miss is going to score 3 points in the second half, they'd have told you, man, we're popping champagne in the middle of the fourth. But for the defense to show up the way they did, I mean, the offense just couldn't get anything going. And I got no problem with what Lane did, and I don't get paid millions of dollars to coach football. I just drill holes in the ground. But for Lane, go for it on fourth and all that, and I get it. And he talked about it after the Arkansas game when you're the visitor and you're not supposed to win, which we weren't. And I know Vegas is very good. Vegas had -2.5, -3, depending on your book. Favorite towards Auburn. When you're not favored and going into visitors, you got to kind of go for the risk. And so I don't have problems with Lane going for it on fourth there late in the fourth quarter. It just sucks not to get it. To have timeout at the last second after the ball's already snapped, and the play's already kind of going. A and B, the other play call on fourth deep in their territory, score that touchdown. It's just kind of a kick in the knockers, right?
Hey, Lone Star, thanks for the call. Appreciate you. I'm going to see if the pressure's there. It was not here as of a minute or two ago.
Okay.
Sometimes when they go on the road, they don't load it until they get
back.
get back. Yeah.
All we kind of have left is Utah, UCLA, since BYU and Virginia's at half. Utah up pretty handedly right now on the Bruins.
Yeah, it's not up.
It's pretty late. Yeah.
Yeah, it's happened a couple of times. Hey, who do we have?
Hey, this is Eric. How are you guys doing?
Hey, Eric, we're good.
Good. First of all, Neal, I am very sorry about your Iowa Hawkeyes tonight. I know that was a tough loss against Wisconsin, so I don't know if anybody's mentioned that to you yet.
We're not going to
It actually has not come up the entire show.
We're not going to talk about it, Eric.
Oh, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry to bring it up. And I'm not going to try and rehash what everybody else has already said, but, I was really impressed with Jacoby Pearson tonight. Like, could he be kind of a rising target, maybe?
I mean, sure. I mean,
I don't know.
Listen,
I'm sure. I know.
Listen, if Dontario can't play, if Dontario can't play, someone's going to have to.
Yeah. I mean, he was awfully impressive. I don't remember you guys mentioning much of him during like fall camp and stuff, which is probably why he wasn't a starter. But he played well tonight. This was definitely a nice little breakout performance for him. But yeah, I have the same gripes that everybody else has, with Lane going forward on fourth, but I'm just wondering if he'll learn from this and maybe change it just a little bit, especially the early fourth down gambles, like early in the game.
I mean, some of that requires him to know when he kind of thinks he's right. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but I mean, he's had time to reflect multiple times throughout the season, and whether it be the numbers or when he's thought back to kind of the game flow at the moment that he made the call. I mean, he hasn't necessarily. And I don't think he's the guy to go, oh no, that was absolutely the right call no matter what. I think for the most part he has kind of believed in those decisions, depending on whatever. But I do think there's a point early in the game where there is a little bit of panic, and then once you kind of get into it, I understand. Even the last one, I do get from the standpoint, as Jeffrey said, and as I was kind of thinking about it too prior to talking to Jeffrey, that if you don't think you're getting down there again, it's 6 yards. Try to get the 6, keep it going, and then just try to get back into field goal range at a later date.
Yeah. I mean, especially late in the game, you want to give that a shot, so I completely understand. Anyway, that's all I had, guys. I appreciate all you do, and just keep on. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Bye.
I'm a little surprised it's not there, but they get in a super big hurry to get out of there.
Yeah, it's always road games.
Hey, who do we have?
This is Brad from
Brad.
Iuka.
Hey, Brad. What's up?
Not a whole lot. I know that you guys had a caller a couple of weeks ago that complained about callers calling in after the games that didn't have football questions, so
right.
I've been practicing up. So I've only got one. I know almost as much about flying planes as I do football. So this is a question for Pete, and I say that because I knew that you guys put Pete Deweese on your feed, and so my football question is, what is the advantage of running plays to the boundary as opposed to the field? And then outside of that,
we can table that for Friday.
Yeah, we can table that, and I can ask him.
Yeah, no, and that's what I'm asking you to do because it looks ridiculous to me.
The advantage of running to the boundary as opposed to running to the field. Okay.
Correct. Yeah, but if you think, and I know nothing about football, but it was apparent to me tonight, and Whitney agreed, that Ja'Cour Pearson was the only guy that we had, willing to go to battle downfield. But it seemed to me that we ran into the short side of the field, again, over my head. So outside of that, I wanted to give you guys a plug. So recently you guys, I guess, have picked up a sponsor from a company that I've been doing business with for a couple of years now.
Okay.
So I want to give a plug to Manscaped.
Okay.
Truly changed my life.
In what way?
Well, how do you think?
Well, I'd like for you to tell me. I mean, because different people use Manscaped products in different ways. Like
the ear and nose trimmer.
Yeah, they have the ear and nose trimmer. They have the kind of the what are they called? The facial wipes that I use on the top of my head sometimes. Yeah, they're nice and cool, cleansing.
Right. Well, they sent me the lawnmower and a pair of boxer briefs.
Oh.
So, and this is a couple of years ago.
Okay.
So it's kind of a two-way story here.
Okay.
So a couple of years ago, down on the beach with a handful of friends, lost a bet, and the loser of the bet had to wear like a banana hammock, you know.
Okay.
And I was a loser, and then the bet was who could get a girl's phone number in less than 10 minutes. Big loser. But so next day had to go on the beach wearing a banana hammock, this, that, and the other. My buddy Dan, he's there with us. And everybody got a bunch of laughs. We're all drinking cheap swill. And he says, I got to tell you, old buddy, it looks like somebody threw a shoelace over a Brillo pad. And I said, what's that all about? He says, I'm just telling you, you might want to look into a little manscaping. And this is before manscaping. I said, okay. I shrugged it off. 6 months later, no joke, honest to God story, I had a medical condition, had a serious issue, and I had to go to the emergency room, and next thing I know, 3 days later, I'm waking up in a hospital room, and the doctor comes in, he's telling me this is good, this is bad, so on and so forth. And he says, you're going to get to go home next day. Thank you. Comes in next day for rounds. He says, you might want to look into, of course, then he said landscaping. But, and I didn't know what he meant. But looked it up. And anyway, manscaping changed mine and Emily's
Well, hold on. You said whoa. You said Emily.
I said what?
You said Emily. Is Whitney aware of Emily and vice versa?
I'm sorry, I don't understand what you're saying.
You just referenced it.
You said it's been great for you and Emily.
And so we're a little concerned here because we've heard about Whitney. Whitney has called into the show and convinced us that she's alive, and now you're talking about Emily, and we're confused.
I don't know why.
Well,
who is Emily?
Who is Emily?
Well, since we're live, at the time of the appointment, there was an Emily.
Right.
So I can go get Whitney if you guys want.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from her because there's some concerns. We'd like to talk to. We would love to talk to Whitney about Emily.
I would ask that you don't bring it up.
Well, I can't make that promise. I mean, that's not the way that journalism works. And if we're going to have this conversation, we need to talk to her about Emily.
Is this journalism?
Yeah, it's close enough at this point, yeah.
Okay. I can go get her.
Yeah, go get Whitney. We'd love to talk to her.
Just bear with me a minute.
You're fine. Oh, while we're doing that, Real Gear Online, thank you very much for the super chat. He wants us to assess DJ Durkin's performance to this point this season.
Okay.
He's been okay. I mean, it was a rough first half. It was not good at all. It was horrible. It was whatever. But you do have to give a lot of credit for the adjustments at halftime. For the most part this season, they've been able to do that, and at some point every game looked pretty well coached. Now, maybe not the whole game. It's not a top 20 defense, but they have definitely looked better at certain points at each time, and that's been a huge factor.
Whitney?
They're asking for you.
No, they're not. They're not even talking
Whitney?
about it.
Hey, Whitney?
Thank you.
Oh, God. What?
Hey, Whitney, are you doing okay?
Yeah,
You were asleep,
Were
weren't
you asleep?
I was. Uh-huh.
Hey, Whitney, I hate to do this at 11:26 p.m., but does the name Emily mean anything to you?
It absolutely might.
It might or it does?
Might not.
Might not.
No. Why would Emily mean anything?
Well, we were talking to Brad a moment ago. I don't know if you know, but Chase has sold a advertising agreement with the people at Manscaped, and Brad was telling us that Manscaped changed his and Emily's life, and he didn't mean to say Emily, I don't think, but he said Emily, and so we asked because we were concerned about what that might mean for you.
Like, do you think he might be having an affair?
Oh,
No,
I would never say that.
This appeared to be pre-you.
Yeah,
we were just curious if you had heard.
Just curious if you were aware
before.
of. We knew that before you and Brad married that there had never been like any kind of activity like that where perhaps you would be all that familiar with whether things were or were not Manscaped. And then when he mentioned Emily, we were just concerned. That's all.
Oh, okay. No, sounds like maybe we should have a conversation about it, though.
It does. It does. It sounds.
Yes.
Yeah. You were aware of Emily's presence with him before?
No, I was not.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
Did you watch the game tonight, Whitney?
No, I did not.
You're really frustrated with him for waking you up right now, aren't you?
Well, yeah, because I've been asleep for like an hour.
Are you more frustrated with that, or are you more frustrated with this revelation about Emily?
The revelation.
Yeah.
I mean, wouldn't you?
I would be. I would have a lot of questions about why Emily was the person who benefited from his manscaping.
That's not what I thought you were going to say.
What did you think I was going to say?
I don't know, but it wasn't that.
Are you pleased with Brad's manscaping since we're talking about Manscaped?
Oh, wow. We're going there.
Yeah, well, I'm just asking because it's a great product.
Well, I mean, I don't think we know each other well enough right now to really have this conversation.
Probably
Maybe
fair.
a few more.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's probably
fair. Yeah.
We'll go back to talking to Brad. You can you can go back to sleep. We appreciate the
Good luck with everything.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
See you
Good night,
guys.
Whitney.
Uh-huh.
Thanks a lot.
Somebody was going to tell her anyway, Brad.
Yeah, Brad. Come on. You brought up Emily.
I mean, we said the whole Bud thing happened last time. Somebody told her that.
I have
between like
one
6
friend
hours.
that listens to the show, Dan, and he knows not to say anything. So
Well, he didn't know not to mention the Bud thing, though.
What?
When you called in the very first time, we got your name wrong. And remember all the chaos that caused?
Second.
Oh, no, I do remember. Jesus Christ, I do remember.
I know.
That's the whole reason Whitney called in the damn Alabama game. Oh, I do remember that.
Yeah.
Is that what
But
it was?
anyway, probably the longest plug Manscaped ever got.
That's for sure.
I don't know. Have you seen some of those ads? They go on and on and on and on.
No, I have seen them.
Even as fast as Chase reads them, they just take forever.
No,
I
I
can't
noticed
get to the
that.
bottom of the
I
page
noticed
fast
that.
enough.
So after the Tulane game, I started trying to listen to the daily podcast, and some of that gets lost on me when it a lot of sports info, and so I don't know, Chase, you tell me, 2 weeks ago, it turns into this new ad, and I was thinking, Jesus Christ, do they have him on double time or something like that? My God,
That's fair.
Hey, I don't blame you. I've been involved in a lot of sticky situations under the belt, but
I bet you have, Brad.
Anyway, and some slippery ones.
Yeah.
But I want to say thanks for taking Whitney's call after the Alabama
Of course.
game.
You're
I
welcome,
can't
of
tell
course.
you, it made her day. Absolutely.
She seemed more happy to talk to us that time than this
she
time.
doesn't seem as happy this time, if we're just being honest.
Yeah. So I didn't know this at the time. She snuck off and called you guys.
She was in the car.
Phone with my, I was on the phone with my dad. Once a year, my dad, Chase, you might know, in this part of the state, dirt track racing is kind of a big thing. So my
I'm aware
dad
of that,
is
yeah.
all into that. And once a year, I try to do that with him. And I was on the phone with him at the time, and Whitney slips off and gives you guys a call at the request of my buddy Dan. Thank God for him. But anyway, didn't know it was going to turn into a call with Whitney tonight.
What's he doing? Like limited late model? What kind of dirt track we doing?
He was outlaw for a little while. He was hobby for a little while. Started out pure street.
Yeah, no, I understand. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Is that funny?
It was to Neal that I knew that.
Yeah.
I was just curious. Sorry, it's all good.
I know you guys are having a good time. In my opinion, you can only go one way right now since woke my wife up with another lady's name.
Yeah, it's gonna be something. It's gonna be something. You probably need to spend some time tonight thinking about how you're gonna explain that in the morning. So, we're gonna let you go there and wish you the best of luck.
Gonna be a tough one. Thank
It
you
is.
guys.
All right. Bye, Brad.
Whoever would like to come in next and follow that,
Yeah.
662-259-0991, 662-259-0991.
Yeah, I'll keep looking for the press conference, but
It's been a week where we got 18-wheelers, we got dirt track racing.
Hey, who do we have?
This is the best show ever.
Thank you.
Corey Amory.
Hey, Corey Amory, how are you? We lose Corey?
Has he had a few since we talked to him last time?
Must be. We've hit the hang-up portion of the night.
Yeah, got it earlier than thought, but that happens on road games.
It does.
Because they've already been...
Yeah. Hey, who do we have?
Hey, this is Dan.
Hey, Dan. Hey, Dan.
Are you
Well, that
Brad's
was
friend, Dan?
What's that?
Are you Brad's friend? Wasn't his name Dan?
No, hell no. No.
Go ahead.
Brad's going to have some issues in the morning.
For sure.
He might not remember it.
He might just tell her it was a dream.
Yeah, that's all right. Kimberly, what? Who?
Yeah, I don't know.
I love Chase throws out a little dirt track lingo.
I've been to one or two. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, I just want to say, guys, tonight, it wasn't the offensive coaches or the defense in the first half best game, and when Corral, he couldn't feel his feet, so you could tell on some of those throws, like he had Dennis Jackson wide open down, probably at the 6-yard line. And
yeah, it was on that long third down.
Lane had his hands up. He thought it was a touchdown.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it just just wasn't there. I mean that's what sucks about playing in the SEC. I mean it just every time it's a grind. I mean it's just such a grind. And when you've been on probation like we were for 4 years and you're 2 years into this, we just don't have. I mean you don't have the depth. I mean it's just not there. And to get to 6-2 at this point is really remarkable. But I will say, look, man, there was some, blocks in the back, holding calls. There was a holding call on Broker that on TV they didn't show a replay, and I'm not real sure why, but it was a pretty costly penalty.
I remember the one on James.
There was one on Broker, and I can't remember where it was.
Where they never showed the replay. They, just called holding, kind of just moved on. But it was a big deal. And then what about that play where they gave him the forward progress and he stepped out of bounds like 4 yards behind, and it gave him a 4th and 1 instead of a 4th and 7.
Yeah, that should have been. They ended up calling it 4th and 2. It was when Bigsby gained 3. It should have been probably 4th and 5 or 6.
Yeah, I think it should have been 4th and 6 there. And yeah. The side judge called it right, and the umpire ran all the way over.
Yeah, that was the call that really bothered me, maybe as more than any other call in the game.
Yeah, how does the umpire that's in the middle of the field see somebody that's a guy that's a foot away from him on the sideline, and how does that get overruled by that guy?
I don't know.
I don't. And that offensive pass interference, that what's his name said earlier, that's a no call. That is a no call. That a ball wasn't catchable. The guy hadn't even turned around. The defensive back. And the problem is somebody put on the board earlier in the week that this is going to happen. Like this happens with Auburn every year. It's like, and it's Alabama too, but Alabama's just so good it really doesn't matter. Not that it mattered a whole lot tonight. We're so decimated with injuries, but
yeah, I've always pushed back on the Alabama part because they have so much talent, as evidenced by the look. The NFL doesn't care where you play, and so when the NFL drafts all the Alabama players in the first round, I'm always like, see, there you go. And as we sit here tonight, I'll push back on the Alabama stuff, but it's with Auburn. I'm a little more inclined to have the conversation.
Well, it's just one of those things. At some point, we make too much money to play Billy Bob Banker to come fly down to Auburn for the week and ref a game.
Well,
that's too much money.
That's the big question. At some point, and look, Texas and Oklahoma are about to join this bad boy. And those are two massive, no matter what you think of them and all the jokes people tell, and those are massive fan bases with massive markets and all that stuff. And if those games start getting impacted, it's going to become a bigger deal. It's the big question is, at some point, are you willing to make officials, I don't know if full-time's the right word, but more full-time than they are today? And I don't know the answer.
No, you got to make them full-time, Neal. You got to make them full-time. That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
That's what they have to be. This is turning, there's too much money involved. These coaches are making $5 to $8 million a year. Now the NIL stuff's in. These universities are going to be making upwards of $80 million. Vanderbilt will be making $8. You have to have full-time refs.
Yeah. No, listen. I think it's a valid point. I do. I've often wondered about it, and so here we are, because you're about to add, like I said, you're about to add two major national brands.
Well, I'm going to leave you to this, guys. I guess there's a way, but Jerry Neal cannot go pro this year. He's not. No. What's he going to be? 4th, 5th round draft pick at best?
At best.
I mean, you can't leave when you're fourth or fifth. I mean, that just
no. He's got a lot of work to do. I mean, frankly, and there was people keep talking about Snoop Connor going pro. There was a play today, and I texted Chase about it. Snoop Connor has one major flaw in his game that nobody ever talks about, but
blocking.
His pass protection is just
terrible,
bad. The
exactly
reason that Parrish plays is because he's the best pass protector in the group.
I'll give you this, Neal, and you said it early on. That Parrish, he's the best running back. I mean, that kid is a football player.
He's the most complete of the three. He's the most complete player.
I agree. No, I totally agree. And I know exactly what you're saying. He almost got Corral killed. And John Rice Plumlee ran back there late to try to help out, but it was too late.
Yeah, Plumlee, I think, blew his assignment on that play.
Yeah, he might have. And that's kind of his issue. I mean, it's like somebody was asking me the other day, well, why don't we go to play? He's a running quarterback that's trying to figure out how to play wide receiver in the best conference in the country. I mean,
it just doesn't work like that.
It's not easy. No, I mean, next year if he sticks with the receiver and sticks, he'll be better at it. But it's not. No, it does not work like that. And I will tell you this, like you were saying earlier, Neal, you got to give Pearson his due. That kid played tonight. I mean, 135 yards receiving that against Auburn at Auburn. That's impressive.
Yeah, for sure, it was.
We could not score the ball. I mean, I don't. The only fourth down I don't mind. You remember when Corral missed Kelly? He threw it behind him. That was the play.
Fourth down. That was his feet were not properly set.
Yeah. And then at the end of the game, when you have 7 minutes to go, whatever it was, 6-something, you kick the points there and kick it off to them, and your defense is played. That's the one. That last one. That's where you kick it. So.
Hey, thanks for the call. We really appreciate it.
No, I appreciate you guys. Have a good one.
Somebody mentioned the NFL refs are part-time employees. They are, but I looked it up while he was talking. In 2019, while they're technically part-time as far as time of year, the average referee or the average NFL official makes $205,000 for the season.
Oh,
so from a pay standpoint, they're full-time employees, despite having a lot of time off. That's enough to make you full-time.
I have a feeling that press conference is not going to be up until the morning.
Do you really?
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking for it, but they're in the air by now. Yeah, I kind of wish we had Tammy back now. Tammy called too soon.
Not a good leadoff hitter.
No, we needed that a little later in the lineup. Hey, who do we have?
Larry Joe.
Hey, Larry Joe, what's up?
Well, I was going to call about some refs and some field goals and conspiracy theories, but I got to go back to my man Brad. Y'all put that man on blast.
Well, I mean, Larry...
he accidentally dropped his Guma's name, and y'all talked about, man, that was crazy.
Well, I mean, he didn't have to go wake her up. Yeah, I mean, we had no way. We had no way to push him into it other than just ask. Very politely.
Yeah, she may have owed him money, but yeah, if y'all ever get an ad read for divorce lawyer, yo, that man a promo code.
That's true.
That's for sure.
That's true. That's true.
No, I just calling just like everybody else. I watched the game and it was just, everybody's upset about the refs and the field goals, and I agree. But my God, you look at where the program is now compared to where it was. Be upset today, but we're 1,000 miles ahead of where we should be.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I mean, look, even the whole 8-4 thing where everybody goes, that's worst case. 8-4, if I told you Thanksgiving night 2019 that you were going 8-4, 9-3 in 2021, you'd just been like, no way. No way.
Exactly. When was the last time 8-4 was the floor? 2015?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
6 years?
Yep.
I mean, that's amazing. It's amazing what the job he's done. He's made chicken salad out of chicken poop. I mean, there's some good players, but it's wrapping paper and wishes at this point, keeping it going.
Someone says the presser is up, but I'm looking for it. It's not on the FTP.
It might be on YouTube.
Yeah, it could be.
Okay, well, I'll let y'all go because that's a big deal. So I appreciate it. Thank y'all for taking my call.
Thanks. Appreciate it. So they put stuff on the what's called the FTP, the file transfer protocol, I guess is what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking. I'm on it right now. I'm looking to see if they put it somewhere else by chance. Nope. Here. Nope.
Yeah, I don't see it on the YouTube page either.
It's not on. It's not on the FTP. It's just not there. Doors Rules says celebrating 8-4 is a joke. I don't know if anybody's celebrating it. We're not there yet. I mean, they're 6-2. There's 4 games left. They could go 10-2. They could go 6-6 or anything in between. Now, they're beating Liberty and they're beating Vanderbilt. But
oh yeah, we're in Hugh week now, aren't we?
Yeah,
kind of forgot that.
You excited about running that post game next Saturday?
I'm pumped.
I bet you are.
You might come on that even. Who knows?
He could.
Got the same number when he was here. He didn't change.
Is he still using the same cell?
Mm-hmm.
Is he really?
Mm-hmm. Pretty sure. I think so.
Huh. I haven't talked to Hugh. I don't know that I've talked to him since the sanctions came out. It's been a minute.
Yeah, same number.
Hey, who do we have?
Hey, it's 901 Reb.
Hey, 901, what's up, man?
Man, not much. So y'all are talking about the refs, and I'm just curious. I thought, Chase might know, but, I mean, and I guess the NFL's, 32 teams, and the SEC's half that, but how many refs would you need to have if you were going to have them, like a staff of refs?
I mean, you don't have. Here's the thing: you don't have to make every ref for every game, even including non-cons, full time. But like the way the NFL was going to do it in 17 and 18, and then the collective bargaining agreement changed this, was they were going to make like their top 20 or 30 or whatever it is full time, and then kind of go from there. I mean, let's say the most there can be is if everybody's playing league only games, that's 7 games. 50 refs full time ish, something like that. And then just fill it in with part-timers around that?
All right. So, I mean, obviously, I don't even think you'd have to do this, but let's say that you paid 50 dudes $200,000 to be full-time refs. That's $10 million. And you divide that by each SEC team, it's less than $1 million, and they're getting how much a year?
40-something.
So, I mean, there's no real excuse. I mean, I don't really care. I mean, all this stuff is fun, and I hate losing games, but you go on the road in the SEC after, the slate of games that we've had with no bye. You got offensive linemen out and no depth. You got all your wide receivers out. You got a quarterback giving it everything, held together with cortisone and duct tape, and a defense that's, kind of like finding a stride, but still, I mean, come on, guys, this isn't like they're not going to turn into a, top 5 defense or something. So it was always going to be a tough game. And so I'm not really saying this about the officials just because of this game, but I'm just saying at some point there's no excuse. Like, I don't care what anybody could get up there and say in front of a camera or put out in a statement or whatever their policy is, or, oh, well, you see, it would cost this much money, whatever. I mean, when you're talking about everybody getting 40 or 50 million bucks and you're talking about taking less than one of those millions away from each one to have the games called significantly more consistently, it's just, at some point, it's just somebody either doesn't want to make that improvement for maybe like a shady reason, which I'm not even saying, or what's more likely is it's just a whole bunch of, well, this is just the way we've always done it. And at some point, it's like, you're talking about a lot of damn money. So I think when you put it in perspective, what the dollars actually mean, when you say like, oh yeah, well you got to pay this guy $200,000. Oh shit, we can't do that. Well, just do the math, and all of a sudden it's kind of like, buying a cup of Starbucks coffee.
I mean, look, it's very doable if they want to do it. Right now, it's a lack of want. Period.
They don't want to pay for it. They don't feel like they have to right now.
Well, that last part makes sense. I mean, the not want to pay for it thing is even hard for me to buy because, it's not significant money. It's not even close to significant money for them. But if it's just sort of an arrogance thing where you're just like, hell, man, we don't have to. People are going to keep watching this. They're going to keep paying us. Who gives a shit? Then I kind of get that.
Yeah, and that's kind of where they are. They don't feel like they have to fix it right now.
Well, then they're probably not ever going to fix. To your point about it's got to happen to Alabama, or it's got to happen to Auburn, or it's got to happen to Oklahoma or Texas. And maybe when they start adding more and more of these types of programs, it really will sort of change the game a little bit. But, the teams that we talk about getting the benefit of the calls are also the teams that are recruiting the best. They're getting the best coaches. They've got the best of everything going for them. So it's pretty easy if your team's not involved in the game to go, hell, man, it's Alabama. What are you going to do? Even Auburn. Auburn's they're not the biggest boy in the SEC, but they're big. We're small. We've got some of the smallest enrollment and some of the least money, and we shoot ourselves in the foot every time we get any positive momentum. So, I just don't see how the dynamic's ever really going to change from a perspective of, now it's in their face because it happened to X school, because those X schools are the ones that have all the players and all the coaches and all the recruiting classes anyway. So it's probably not going to happen to them. We could have won the game even with the bad calls. And even forgetting about Lane Kiffin's not kicking field goals and whatever, I think there was like 4 trips to the red zone where there's a pick, and then, there's some argument over should have kicked a field goal or not. Well, just get a first down and get in the end zone in 3 downs like the rest of the world. It's almost like the fan base is kind of taking on the same mindset of, it's 4 downs to do everything. But, if we just score in the red zone and get first downs in the red zone, with 3 downs like other teams that score, then we're not talking about this. We still won, even with the bad refs.
I think Jeffrey hit it. I think there's had to be some sort of embarrassment angle where something happens that literally becomes headlines. Right now, there's not.
Thanks, 901. Appreciate you.
I'll let y'all go. I appreciate it.
Bye. Larry Joe says he sounded like a cat being strangled by a hillbilly.
I've sounded perfectly fine.
I do too. I've sent text out. I don't anticipate answers right now. Yeah. Probably because everybody who would answer is in the air.
Awesome church that are already back.
Oh, that's probably not. We're not calling Jay. Jay's doing his show right now.
Yeah.
Wonder what Jay's super chat total is right now.
Oh.
Can you look it up?
Is it on the screen?
Would it be on the screen?
I don't think so.
No, okay. He sometimes after a win makes $2,000 in super chat. Andy, I don't have it where I can play it. I have to have the MP4, the file, the MP4 file that I can download and then move into a scene, and I don't have that. I don't even see it anywhere. But I don't have it where I can play it. I can't pull a separate YouTube and put it into this.
He currently has none showing on his screen. Now, what that could or could not mean anything.
I've got some of his quotes from earlier where Lane Kiffin says, and I quote, "Hats off to Auburn. You know, they played really tough, very tough environment to play in. Their crowd was great. Bo made a lot of plays for them, especially early on. I thought our defense, after struggling early, played exceptionally well. Gave us a bunch of chances offensively to win. We just don't make 3 4th downs in the red zone and throw another interception. So that's 4 times in the red zone with no points. That's going to make it hard to win. So to be in an 11-point game, with that said, you must be doing something right on the other side of the ball, which we did on defense. Matt battled to come back. Drummond went down, so it was down to none of his initial 3 receivers or initial tight ends. So really credit to, Jacour Pearson and Casey Kelly. He's throwing to walk-on kids that are doing a great job out there. Ultimately 7 catches, 200 yards between the 2 of them at Auburn, trying to hold up a top 10 ranking. It's very courageous by Matt to come back out and limp around there. Very unlike him on the interception. 1st and 10, we have some momentum. Just really a play he had not made since last year. I think that's a product of force. You get frustrated when you all of a sudden we're having 3 and outs to start the second half. And that is the problem when you're not getting all the plays made around you. The run game's not going well. It's hard not to press, especially on the road. He was asked about red zone problems, and he said they did a good job, but it wasn't any special new defense or anything. Asked about what Auburn did in the red zone. When you get in the red zone, things tighten down. So if you're not running the ball well, you're going to have tight windows and guys. You got to make good throws and got to make big plays, and, we didn't do that. And, obviously it's fair to say you can kick field goals, but, we've made a lot of those and converted more than anybody in the country. And when it doesn't work, it doesn't work. He was asked about the game plan with the running game. I don't think it takes a lot to figure out. If you lead the country in rushing outside the triple option teams coming into a game and your quarterback limps around and your receivers are hurt, it's pretty easy to figure out what to do. Stack the box and then stop the run. Condense your rush lanes and stop the run, which is what they came out to do, and it makes you try to go outside. So it was a good plan by them. I think most of you would have done the same thing. He says, when did you realize you were going to get Matt back? He goes, yeah, I thought the way he came off was really bad, like broken, and so I had kind of already gone to that place. I was kind of surprised that he came back, especially coming back and having some type of movement skill, which was awesome because, I was in the tank. That anytime something like that happens, you say, okay, well, we should have had a better play. On the first down where he got hit and injured, he was never given a shot. So it was obviously going to have him back there and play before I've been running down with the clock and stuff. So we had to use a timeout. I was asked what the defensive adjustment was in the second half, and Kiffin said, I thought we played well by tackling. I thought that we didn't, Bo just keeps drives alive, as you've seen, like the LSU game and stuff. And so you can play good defense, be right there, and you can't tackle the guy, and that happened to us. Early on we had him. When he does, that they're long sacks if you make them, but he was getting out of them, and we started making some of them. That's it. That's it.
Not a ton.
Not a ton from Lane Kiffin tonight.
Not much there. Had a missed field goal in BYU, Virginia, and it's still 87 points now scored.
I think Jay's going to call in.
Is he?
I think so. Giving him the number.
His stream's kind of light tonight.
I think he's done.
Is he done now?
Yeah. Wait, that's not right. I give him the wrong number. Oh, he's live, but he's going to call. Okay. Whew. He says, I have a dude on right now. It's only midnight. It feels like 2 a.m. Utah kicking UCLA's ass.
Yeah, that's been rough throughout.
35-17.
What was the Missouri Vanderbilt final?
It was a 9-point game.
Was it?
Yeah. They didn't cover.
Yeah, I knew that.
Jay's going to argue against the officiating. He's going to tell you that the officiating was not bad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know. I'm just.
Brian, what time did the wedding end?
Hey, who do we have?
Hey, is this Neal and Chase?
It is. Who's this?
I was just calling in.
Yeah, you're on.
I'm on. Okay, perfect. I was curious what y'all thought about the referees tonight because it was clearly very one-sided, and I just didn't know if y'all thought that it was just an absolute joke either way. But
yeah, we've talked about it. We've talked about it a lot. Chase seems to think it was one of the best officiated games he's ever seen in his life.
Yeah, I don't think I missed a call all night.
Yeah, his phone's going. It's
Was it?
Yeah, he's got the whole 30-second delay, and yeah. We're 2 hours and 14 minutes in.
Yes, we have discussed the officiating.
We have. I don't know what else to say. Carson came in.
You made most of it then, Ryan. That's not bad. You would have taken that when we talked to you on Thursday.
Carson came in from his soccer game. He was pumped up because he got moved out of necessity to left back. Which he doesn't. Carson never plays defense, and he played defense. And he apparently recorded a really good tackle on one of the better players for Hernando.
Yeah.
And the guy flopped around, and Carson told him to get his ass up.
Did he?
Yeah. He was excited about how he got to cuss a guy.
That's kind of good.
Kind of made me feel good.
Yeah.
The coach told Carson that he liked him at that position because he's kind of dirty.
Really?
That made me feel good. Should I be proud of that?
Sure.
Hey, who do we have?
Hey, it's Big G and Brandon.
Hey, Big G.
A couple of different things to touch on. Number one, I called in a couple of weeks ago talking about when Lane did the, get your popcorn ready thing, and I kind of vibe on his whole thing of. I kind of look at Ole Miss as the guy who walks into the casino, and Alabama is a casino. Over time, Alabama wins. Ole Miss has got to kind of do some crazy stuff to walk out as a winner.
Mm-hmm.
And so when Lane does this fourth down stuff, not kicking the field goal, I sat here yelling at my poor mother tonight, saying he should kick his field goal. And after the game, I was like, you know what? That's because I'm thinking like we're all Alabama. That overtime numbers play out, but for the quote-unquote little guy, numbers don't play out. I think his mindset, I know it's according to his book. I don't know. At the end of the day, I kind of like the whole thing of, you got to do something different to get something different. And Jesus Christ, for my 45 years, we haven't gotten much different. So I'm okay with him trying something a little off base. But
well, I mean, that is his argument, is he doesn't care about getting blown out. He's either trying to win or lose.
Yeah, exactly. 31-26. The hell with it, man. It's yeah. Anyway, I was at a ball game last night. By the way, being from Brandon, we were over at Northwest Rankin for the Brandon won the district
like 50
championship.
to 48 or something like that. It was high scoring.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was like 50. Yeah. Anyway, I will tell you from a very, very close source. The plan for Mingo is to sit out for 2 weeks and come back. So
yes, that is true.
There you go.
He's hoping to play against A&M.
Yeah, I heard you say it earlier, but I was just going to confirm it that more than one person had heard that in person. So anyway, appreciate you guys.
Thanks, Big G.
Hope some extra other drunk people call.
Bye.
Former quarterback at State just scored for Virginia.
Who's that?
Keaton Thompson.
Oh, is that where he is?
Yeah.
How about that?
Plays like wide receiver or tight end or something. Yeah, I think I had that right. I think it was 50 to 48 last night.
I knew Oxford beat Grenada. That was all I knew.
Yeah, they play Madison Central for the division title next week.
Who does?
Oxford.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Where? Down there. 'Cause it was here last year.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. stumbled upon that on Twitter.
I'm taking my family to a college football game for the first time in my life next weekend.
It's literally your life, isn't it?
First time ever I've ever done it. It's Kyo Dad's weekend, so I'm going because there'll only be how many weekends in my life will be that?
5.
Yeah, but only 2. Only 2 when it'll be the 2 of them. It fell on the right kind of weekend this year. I'm waiting for Jay to call. He's indicating that he's calling.
Did he?
Yeah, but I don't see it. Tammy, the over-under on Tats, 3. I'll go. That's kind of about right.
What?
Tammy, the number of Tats, over-under is 3.
The actual person or the character?
The character's over, the actual person.
Under.
I think so, too. Are you saying you don't think Tammy's real?
I'm saying that I had some questions about a few of our people over the time, but that is not one of them. No, I do not have questions about that one.
What about Brad and Whitney?
Hey, look. It's making me more believe.
No.
I believe it more by the day.
By the day. What about Brad and Emily? You think it's over with Emily? It's a past thing?
Oh, yeah. No,
yeah.
He's not that kind
it
of
was
guy.
just a slip-up.
Yeah.
It's a bad moment.
Yes.
She knew nothing about Emily.
She was half asleep.
Yeah.
Literally, though. Like, you could tell.
She didn't know that name.
Sure.
Hey, who do we have?
Hey, we got Tony Sams.
Hey, Tony.
Hello, Tony.
Hey, the previous caller said that it was time to let the drunker people call in.
Do you qualify?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sitting on the fence right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Beer, whiskey, what are we doing?
Say what now?
Beer, whiskey, what are we doing?
Grilled some steaks for my parents tonight and went over to Trader Joe's and Dad bought a couple of $2 chucks. So, sipped on those and I don't know, had some steaks, watched the second half of the Ole Miss game. That was, I got, Neal, you said that you're skipping out on the game and going to Kyo's daughter's weekend. Is that what it is?
Yep. It's Kyo Dad's weekend. Yeah.
Kyo Dad's weekend.
Yep.
Okay. So I got 2 daughters. They're 3 and 4 months old. So that's like my nightmare. That's like the future that I see coming up. But it's I don't know, that I'm not a big networking type guy. But anyways, what I called in to ask was, did Mel bump his stock up for the LSU gig?
It probably helped himself, sure.
You think he's got a shot?
Thought it was a pretty good show out.
I think he's got a shot.
Pretty good show out.
I think it's James Franklin's job as of this moment, if he wants it, and I think he probably does. Hey, I've got Jay calling. I'm gonna take this call. Okay.
Go ahead.
Jay, how are you?
Is this Neal McCready?
This is he.
Hey, what up? This is JG from AuburnSports.com.
Hello, Jay. How are you?
Are you on? Are we live?
We are live.
We are live, Jay.
Wait, oh my God! Is it Chance the Yapper?
How you doing, Jay?
Hey, Brad. Hey, what's up, bro? How you doing?
You almost said Brad. We've already put Brad to bed.
Yeah, we've already talked to Brad tonight. We've had Brad's in trouble after talking to us.
Who the fuck is Brad? I don't know who that is.
So Brad has called in several times, Jay, and Brad tonight was telling us a story about Manscaped because that's one of our new partners. And
great.
Yeah, and he was telling us a story about that, and he referenced someone who was not his wife that enjoyed the fact that he had used Manscaped. So had him go wake his wife up and ask her if she was aware of the other woman.
That really happened?
It really happened.
It did, yeah. And Whitney was not aware of Emily, so it's probably a problem.
Yeah, that's going to be bad, I think, in the morning.
Yeah, it's not.
She was out of her slumber. She knows who we are because she called in a few weeks ago to tell us that she was fine and there was a wellness check. Long story, you haven't been around for that, but nonetheless, yeah, she had never heard of Emily before. It was a bit of an issue.
Which one has the bigger titties? Can I ask? Can you guys talk about that on your show?
I mean, we could, but we haven't asked anything. We haven't asked enough questions to be able to even remotely answer that question. Whether it's Whitney or Emily.
Because it really comes down to who's hotter and who has the bigger boobs. I mean, generally.
Yeah, I mean, we
no answer from you guys.
Yeah, we
thoughts on the game tonight? I think that you guys are upset. The Rebel Grove people are upset with the officiating. Is that true?
Yeah, the rebelgrove.com people are very upset with the officiating, and it was pretty shaky, Jay.
You talking about the throw to Shed Jackson where he was out of bounds and they said he was 4 yards ahead?
The intentional grounding on the second series that was whatever.
I don't remember that one.
Blocking the back on the first. Auburn's first two scores were both officiating aided.
You don't remember those?
I don't remember the blocking the back. I do remember the Shed Jackson. He was probably out of bounds about 4 yards from where he was spotted.
Yeah, he was definitely out of bounds. I was actually curious on that play. I legitimately meant it when I asked. I asked on Twitter, how does that work? Does he get forward progress even if he stepped out backwards?
Progress. Yeah, and
most people said no, you don't. That if you keep running and you step out, you're out where you step out.
Yeah, well, that's what she said. I'm in a tough spot here, guys, honestly, because you know how I feel about Rebel Grove, right? You know I love you guys. Not you guys, but everybody at the site. I love you guys, obviously. I don't think Chance likes me very much, but Neal, you know how I feel about you, bro.
Absolutely.
And the people at rebelgrove.com, I love the community. I love you guys. And this is a weird game for me because it's like I like Ole Miss, but I run the Auburn site. I feel like I'm in a weird situation. I feel eerily vulnerable.
Why so, Jay?
Well, I don't want to talk any shit. I'm just glad nobody got hurt. Sam Williams came back from his injury. Matt Corral came back from his injury. I just didn't want anybody to get hurt.
Your people thought Matt Corral was faking it. Did you think Matt Corral was faking it?
No, I did not.
I didn't
that
either.
At all.
I
thought that was a crazy idea.
Yeah, I did too.
Like faking it for a fucking Heisman? No. The kid's a great football player, and I cannot believe he's the number 20 NFL draft pick. Are you shitting me? There's 19 players better than him?
No. When he's healthy, he's a superstar. People saw it tonight.
Absolutely.
People saw tonight. He came back and gutted through it. Chase was saying earlier, and I think he's right. And I think people are taking this a little too literally. He probably had been shot up in both ankles, so he couldn't completely feel his feet. His feet weren't set on some things. He didn't get the drive off some of his passes that we normally see from him. And some of that was because he couldn't feel everything. I can't even imagine what he's going to wake up and feel like in the morning. He's going to get up in the morning and need crutches.
Is there ever a morning when you wake up and you don't necessarily feel everything, Neal?
Yeah. So sometimes it happens, Jay. But it's been a while. That was a different stage in my life.
You're a little bit older than me, so I don't know. But then Chance the Yapper's a little bit younger than both of us, so I don't know.
Yeah, he might wake up that way. It's been a minute for me since I've felt that way in the morning. I've had those mornings, Jay, but it's been a long time.
Yeah? You wake up and you just kind of...
Well, you wake up and you just go, there's just no way. Nope.
Mm-hmm.
What are you sipping tonight, Jay?
Yeah, go ahead, Chance. I'm here for you, bro.
What are you sipping? What was the drink of choice tonight? What was the whiskey of the night?
Tonight we were drinking the Rebel Yell. This was actually full when I started.
It's not full now.
Proof. No, it's not full now, and it's the Rebel Yell. And I joked that we were going to make the Rebels yell, but I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah.
But y'all been drinking?
I have a little bit. I've had just some Buffalo Trace.
Oh, that's delicious bourbon. Chance the Yapper, what have you been drinking, bro?
I basically don't drink much anymore, Jay, like at all.
Wait, what?
No,
Are you serious?
No, I swear to God. I mean, Neal can attest.
Yeah, he's
here.
basically quit drinking.
Dang, why?
For the majority of the
this?
year, it wasn't necessarily intentional. I just kind of went a couple days and was like, I don't know that I care. Like, I'll tell you how weird it is, Jay, because, I mean, I used to do a damn bourbon podcast. Exactly, been through a little bit. But I would even pour them and forget about them, come back like an hour later, and they would just like still be sitting on the bar, like we'd never even touch it.
What's wrong? Seriously, when I see that in my real life, I think that's somebody who has really small balls.
Probably, look, Jay. I mean,
at least they're
not
shaved.
even saying you're inaccurate, but it is what it is right now. You know what? You have what you're born with. It is what it is.
At least they're shaved at this point.
Wait, what?
Manscaped.
Manscaped.
20% off,
Yeah.
free shipping.
Yeah.
Code MPW.
Is that really a thing?
I swear to God,
absolutely.
it's a thing. You got to have the right tool for your family jewels, Jay.
Hey, do you guys shave your balls? Seriously?
The Lawnmower 4.
4.0.
4.0.
It has a 4,000K LED light. Has
So you can see everything.
skin-safe technology that allows you to avoid nicks and cuts.
Oh, yeah, you definitely want to avoid nicks and cuts.
See, there you
Right.
go.
Yeah.
Lawnmower 4.0. Code MPW, 20% off. Free shipping.
That's good stuff. I love the guys at Rebel Grove. You guys do a great job.
Appreciate that, Jay.
What else can I? How can I help? Can I help at all?
Anybody got questions for Jay in the stream? We'll take questions.
I mean,
for
look,
Jay,
we
Jay
have
at
so
this
many
point.
people. Like when I mentioned this earlier, when we were doing the quarantine, you guys weren't necessarily doing your show the way that you do it now in the quarantine. And so, like Leif B and Georgia Rebel and Avery, and there's a bunch of folks over there that were just doing incredible shit. And they were supporting our stream. They were coming over. They were calling in. It was unbelievable, and I will never fucking forget it. I know 20 years from now we won't give a shit about this COVID stuff, but it mattered at the time. In 2020 or 2020 or whatever, it was terrifying. And just the fact that your folks supported what we were doing over here, and I know our people supported y'all too. Maybe not Neal as much, but Chance the Yapper. I mean, Neal, they're still mad at you about the praying thing.
I know they're still mad about the
They're
damn
still mad
prayer
about
circle.
that?
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Do they still do the prayer circle now that Malzahn's gone?
Hell yeah. I mean, God hasn't gone away, Neal.
Yeah. Think you stopped praying just because Gus is no longer there?
Are people still tweeting
Yeah,
about it? Because
exactly.
I don't see the tweets anymore.
Well, maybe they don't, but
They still
God
do.
hasn't changed. Jesus hasn't changed.
They still do the pregame prayer oval.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's more of an
what's
oval.
your problem with it? Why do you have a problem with people praying?
I don't have a problem with it. It was more of an oval than a circle, and it was an oval.
Yeah. Well, so here's the deal. We were thinking about this earlier. We think Auburn's going to run the table now and beat A&M, beat Mississippi State, beat South Carolina, and then win in the Iron Bowl to finish. Go on to Atlanta.
Where's
How about that?
Where's the Mississippi State game? Starkville?
It's at Auburn.
Oh, it's at Auburn. Yeah, you win there. Yeah, the A&M game is in College Station, correct?
Correct. Auburn has never lost there in the SEC era.
And Alabama's at home. Yeah, you have a shot. I mean, Nix is playing really well.
Keith M. says, thank God Neal McCready left this state. That's going good.
That's good.
That's great. Keith M. says Neal is a crybaby. I think Keith might have a problem with you, Neal.
Well, a lot of people do, Jay. I mean, it's been...
No, there's not. That's not true.
You're
been a very popular person.
No, I'm not a popular person, and that's okay. It's okay. Because I'm totally at peace with a lack of popularity. As I said yesterday when we were talking about competition, I'm one of those people. There will never be like I remember in Mobile they said, "Do you want to write a farewell column?" And I said, "Absolutely not. There will never be a farewell column. There won't be a farewell show. No one will even know. I'll just leave."
Hey, I don't want to spoil G-Pits, but, I went to my high school reunion last weekend, Neal.
Yeah, we talked about this on the last G-Pitch, Jay.
No, I know, but I'm going a little deeper because I've been drinking a little bit.
Okay.
My wife asked me a question that I don't think any wife has ever asked their husband before. You ready for this question?
Sure.
She said, how many girls in this room have you made out with?
Oh. And?
My answer, unfortunately, was 0.
Really?
It was the wrong selection of girls. No, there weren't any girls that I had hooked up with. But it happens sometimes.
Yeah.
I think you'd have been happy with the selection there, dude. There were some cute girls. Oh, the girl that asked for a friendship French was there.
Yeah, you told me about that because she was amused. I'm trying to think.
She got along real good with my wife, so that's all good.
At your high school reunion, Chase, how many of the girls had you made out with?
I didn't go to my high school reunion.
How many?
Oh, you didn't go.
Well, if you
I was actually supposed
chance,
to plan it,
how many?
and I didn't even go.
How many girls in your class did you make out with?
I don't know that I ever actually. Yeah, it would actually be 0 for my graduate my actual class.
Really?
Uh-huh.
I'm fucking shocked to hear that.
Yeah, well,
I'm absolutely shocked. Did you get a lot of ass back in high school? What are we hiding? I mean,
we're not hiding anything.
He's just trying to decide whether he wants to answer this or
not. How many?
I'm definitely not answering that question, Jay. I'm nowhere near drunk enough. I'm drinking freaking seltzer water over here.
He's nowhere close,
Yeah,
Jay.
you're
just
wrong night
Where'd
for
you
that.
go to high school, Chance? Where'd you go? What geographic
He
area?
went to Hatley High School near
Northeast Mississippi, very small. I graduated with 64 people.
I graduated with 63, so
there you go.
Pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I graduated with 300, so.
Well.
All right.
Is that all we have to say? Is that all we have to share?
I think we've covered it, Jay. I really do.
Okay, I don't want to take up your time, but I mean,
Tell the people at your site that I enjoyed my visit this week. I did the 5 questions thing with Christian, and I did the show with the what's it called?
Yeah, War Report.
War Report. Thank you. I was having a hard time thinking of it.
Yeah.
So I felt like I did my part.
No, you did more than your part, Neal. Thank you. I texted you about it too, ahead of time. Appreciate you, bro.
You're welcome.
Are there more? I feel like there's more questions I could ask Chance, though.
I'm sure you come up with plenty, Jay. I have no doubts about that.
But I mean, I just went to my high school reunion, Chance. So I feel like high school reunion.
No, I get it. I'm completely fine with that. I mean, if I had gone, I would have told you all the stories, but I did not go.
Yeah.
Were
those girls hot though? Were there some hot girls in your grade?
The grade below me had the majority of the females. For whatever reason, like my grade was mostly guys, and the grade below me was mostly girls.
So did you rail that group?
Well, you didn't ask me that question, Jay. You asked me about my class, so I'm sorry.
Jay.
You were limited to one.
Jay.
Yeah, Neal. How can I help?
We're gonna let you go. I'll talk to you Monday, okay?
All right, brother.
All right,
Appreciate
man.
you guys. Love you guys. Rebel Grove people kick ass. I love you guys.
See you
later. Let's see.
Utah leads 37-24. just trying to let it settle down.
And the Utes and the,
Yeah.
oh god. BYU, Virginia.
What is that game? That game's going back and forth. So you don't like the?
No, I have no problem with
the
it. I was just
BYU
curious.
Uni?
Usually, you like.
That's solid.
Typically, I would think you would want a white helmet on that uniform.
I would
more than
prefer
the
a
blue.
white helmet, but it's good.
Yeah.
Hey, who do we have?
Hey, this is Bart.
Hey, Bart.
No, Hazelhurst.
This is Hazelhurst or Bart?
Bart from Hazelhurst.
I got you. Hey, Bart.
All right. So, what did y'all think about Drummond and Sanders both sitting on the sidelines all night?
Well, I mean, I think Drummond pulled a hamstring, and if you've ever pulled a hamstring, you know you can't run. I mean, there's no way he could go. And then we talked about Braylon earlier. I don't know what Braylon's situation is, but he obviously doesn't feel like he can play.
I hated them showing them on the sidelines all night. And they showed Braylon all night, and then they kept showing they kept showing what was it? They kept showing Drummond too after he pulled his hammy, and it just hurt just watching them just sit on the sidelines.
I mean, Dontario's played
at a party, and everybody was dogging on Braylon for not going out there.
Yeah, I don't know what. Listen, I'm not going to question. People use the fragile word and stuff like that. I'm not going there. I don't have any idea. Dontario clearly pulled a hamstring, and if you pulled a hamstring, you can't play.
That's fair. That's fair. I get that. And Drummond's been toughing it out all year.
Yeah, I mean,
fair,
Dontario didn't decide tonight that he was just not going to be tough enough to play. He pulled a hamstring, and if you pulled a hamstring, you can't fire, you can't run, you can't do it. So if you can't answer the bell, you can't answer the bell. It is what it is.
Yeah, I get. The Drummond thing didn't piss me off. It was more the Braylon, everybody was like, he should go before the game. And then I never even saw him in on one play.
Well,
and they kept showing his face.
He played a little bit. I tried to tell people before the game that he was going to try to give it a go. That does not mean that he's going to go play 80 snaps. It means he's going to try to give it a go. I mean, obviously whether it's his knee or his shoulder or something else or both or whatever, he just doesn't feel like he can play.
And that's fair. That's fair. No, I get that. It's just Braylon needs to try and play. I mean, he's an NFL player if he's out there.
Yeah, it's the knock on him. It's the knock on him, and it's a big knock. And I mean, it's a problem for him, no question about it, moving forward. Because in the NFL, the best ability is availability.
Yeah. No, that's true. That's true. I agree. It was kind of pissing me off the whole night because we needed somebody out there that was a game changer at receiver, and we never had that. Pearson was our best receiver out there tonight, and everybody knows how Pearson had a good night, but you get what I'm saying.
I do.
Y'all let me go now. This is enough.
That's all good.
All right.
Later.
Y'all have a good one.
They actually just put it on the FTP. That's what I was pulling down. Ask Bart how many. Oh. I mean, some guys play hurt and some guys don't. I mean, it's cliche, but if you talk to NFL people, they'll tell you the best ability is availability.
Yeah.
Because it's a 50-man roster.
Sure, yeah.
It's not an 85-man roster. It's a 50-man roster. So if you can't go,
there's a line of location.
You create an issue for your team.
Yeah.
Does anybody still want to hear from Lane at this point, or have we covered it?
I mean, I have no issues playing it, but if it's only the quotes you read, I see very little interest.
And we have Matt as well. We've probably hit the point where it's too late.
Lane did not say anything, is the thing.
He didn't.
I mean, those quotes you read were a lot of nothing.
Yeah. Let's see. I need to put the phone line number back up. Yeah, someone says it's not a one-season issue. That's fair. It's been the issue for
a while.
And somebody's got to answer because he's got NFL talent, but no NFL team's going to play somebody who can't stay on the field ever. People are wondering about your situation with Jay.
Jay and I are perfectly fine. Everybody always thinks that. I don't really understand why.
Someone says Jay super chats himself. I don't think that's the case.
If he did that, he'd be losing money.
Yeah, that would be a real stupid move.
Yeah, don't do that.
What is that BYU score? 59-49. Wow. What was the over-under?
Less than this.
Comfortably under that.
Yeah.
You put observations up. I put a column up. What's been the reaction? Have you looked? Are we getting yelled at?
What you would expect. I mean, it's a lot of.
I mentioned officiating.
It's a lot of officiating. It's a lot of whether or not the field goal should have happened. It's whether or not Lane should just be blamed in general. As I wrote in the observations, look, all those things are exactly right. But when you kind of get over the loss on Monday or Tuesday, it's going to be thank God 2's upright.
Yeah.
Because the season is not over.
No, not at all. I'm responding to somebody on the board. They're asking, where's the press conference? Like it just got loaded. People don't have a lot of patience, and they don't really understand that we're doing
multiple things all at once.
Multiple things.
Yes. Very fair.
All right, if anybody's got a call to make, now's the time to make it. As we hit the how long have we been going?
About 3 hours.
2 hours and 42 minutes.
Yeah.
If you got a call, now's the time. Because I need to load the other stuff and put it up before people lose their mind.
They'll have 10 thoughts up around 7:30 in the morning, so guys get up and
I've written a lot in thought number 8, I think, about Lane. I mean, not about Lane, about Hugh.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to decide how much of that I really feel like writing. Hey, who do we have?
Yo, it's Grind.
Hey, Grind, what's up?
What's up, man?
We're just kind of wrapping it up, my man.
I know, man. I'm on the way headed back to Birmingham and everything, man. And it was a really more about the wedding. Just
how'd it
my
go?
luck. Well, first off, my luck when the lady, the wedding planner later on, when we were doing wedding rehearsals, told everybody to line up by height. We all lined up by height, the dudes and everything, and she lined the women up. And I was one guy off from getting the blind bridesmaid.
Ooh.
Well, you could have been a huge help, right?
You could have helped her.
Well, I mean, I think the guy that she ended up getting stuck with, knew her more because it seems like me and my brother had met the groom in college, and everybody else knew him since high school days, in the city and stuff. And so they had a little more, familiarity with everybody and stuff. But, just my luck. And like I said, the wedding did go long though, man. It started at 4 and then ended at 6:45 and everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you missed the first quarter.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
And I mean, man, I thought the most egregious thing was the offensive pass interference call. That was a badass call. Like I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I just think sometimes games start getting away from an official and they can't get it back. I mean, they just start missing calls. I don't know whether it's trying to make up calls or what it is, but I just think they lose control of games.
But in my opinion, there were 3 times when Tank Bisbee fumbled on the goal line and Auburn ended up covering the ball.
That was a big play.
That was a chance.
Yep. I
thought another big thing that Ole Miss didn't capitalize on, the muff punt by Auburn. I was for sure when that happened. I was like, man, Ole Miss finna tie the game up.
Well, you have to score points there. Absolutely.
You have to get something there.
It's a great point.
And I mean, and credit I forgot the cornerback name, and Chance Campbell for recovering the fumble on Kobe Hudson.
Prince.
And that's another chance.
And you have to score there, and that's 3 opportunities that they came away with -7. Yep, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and so that's just my thing about the game, man. But I'm rewatching everything because my day was a little hectic. Talk to you guys on Thursday. Man, you guys have a good night, man.
All right, appreciate it, Ryan. Be safe.
All right, you too, man.
I'm loaded Kiffin just then.
Okay.
I'm loading Corral as we speak. That's all that they gave after the game.
They try to get out of there now.
Yeah,
they're in a rush.
They're in such a rush to get out of there. So I'm getting all that loaded as we speak. So if you subscribe to our site or our YouTube channel, it'll be up here pretty soon. Literally going through the process of loading Corral as we speak. Almost there. Okay. Corral is downloading now. Okay. I didn't know that I could do two things at once.
You can?
On YouTube.
Yeah.
And you can.
Huh.
How about that?
Okay.
A lot of it depends on. Yeah, Kiffin is up. Corral's 95% up. I bet Tammy's asleep by now.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Yeah. She'd had a day. All right, we'll stop there. Appreciate everybody for calling. Appreciate you being a part of the show. Thanks to Jeffrey, Brian, for their time as well. 10:37 to go still.
Yeah, I know.
God, that's a late game. Ole Miss and Liberty on Saturday at 11. I'm sure we'll have a lot of Hugh Freeze stuff. How much do you plan on talking about Freeze this week?
Figure we'll do a day. I think we kind of put a
One day
aside and then kind of move on from there.
I'm writing about it tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm trying to decide how in-depth to go
Mm-hmm.
because I don't really want to spend all week on it. Because I think most people would be surprised to tell me that if you asked me to generally put my feelings on Hugh, with 1 being I hate him and 10 being I love him, I'm closer to 10 than I am 1. Like a lot closer to 10.
Sure,
I'm more like a 7.
Oh, I know. Yeah, yeah.
But the difference between 7 and 10 is some real stuff.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of respect for Hugh. I said this in 10 Thoughts. I'll say it here and then I'll leave it alone. He called me the morning after he got the job.
Right.
And told me, hey, I know that people haven't exactly been fair to you. I want to start fresh. And he lived up to that the entire time.
True.
Even when we had our issues.
Yeah.
And we definitely had our issues.
Yeah, I think we'll do a Freeze day.
Okay.
Tuesday, Wednesday, something like
Somewhere
that.
there?
Yeah, somewhere in the
Yeah.
middle. I think that's the move.
Yeah. Someone says no sermons. No, I don't have a sermon.
No.
He's a human being.
Yeah.
Get him on the pod.
I'll ask.
We'll ask. Here's the problem, just so you know, with Hugh and the pod, is that he wants to kind of control what we ask, and I don't want to do that. I want if we're going to talk about the positive, I want to talk about the negative. And if he don't want to do that, I get it. I understand, but then I don't want to roll over and kind of do what he wants.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joseph said that's why you carried his water. I don't know that I've ever been accused of that.
No, that's not it.
I don't know that I've ever been accused of carrying Hugh Freeze's water. But I mean, you're certainly entitled to your opinion. At 12:37 in the morning, you're entitled. I support that. All right. Thanks for everybody being here. We'll have content up at rebelgrove.com over the course of the next few days. Ole Miss and Auburn will have the pregame show on loaded on Thursday, as always, and then Chase will be with you. He'll do
with whatever that looks like on Saturday.
He'll do something on Saturday after the Ole Miss Liberty game. I'll be out of pocket that day, but maybe I'll call in or something if the game ends in enough time. So we'll go from there, and thanks for being part of our show. Appreciate you. Don't forget, walk-ons in Ridgeland and walk-ons opening soon in Oxford. Please make sure that when you go to walk-ons, you tell them that you appreciate them sponsoring this particular show.